Under the full moon of White Demon City, a woman floated above the massive castle, purple magical energy radiating from her aura swirling. Below, a man stood at the castle gates, bending over and panting as he expressed himself. The woman in the sky shouted down, "Fake Chenbai of White Demon City." Then she extended her hand, and her beauty gradually turned serious. She resembled a goddess, with purple long hair flowing, a graceful figure like a beautiful statue. She said, "Your failure in this mission has put me in a bad mood." Then she coldly added, "So, die." The man below, named Chenbai, felt lost upon hearing her command. He appeared exhausted, as though he had just completed a mission. Chenbai quickly pointed to his chest and shouted, "Wait, Lady Dark Mother." Then he pleaded, "Please consider my past achievements and give me a chance." The beautiful woman ignored his words, appearing cold and ruthless. She cast a spell, extending her tendrils toward him, and a purple mist surrounded them. She coldly said, "Despicable humans do not deserve a chance. You will be buried with White Demon City." The entire massive castle was surrounded by magical tendrils, with the upper part of the castle destroyed, and everything around it was filled with a sinister magical aura. The ground began to tremble, splitting apart. Chenbai tightly grasped his sword to maintain balance, painfully continuing, "I." The magical tendrils began to assault his body. The tendrils caused various parts of Chenbai's body to detach, and he fell into the endless void. In despair, he thought, "I completed nearly 100 tasks she gave me, but one failure leads to execution." His entire body rapidly fell down. He relaxed his body, no longer caring about the moment, still blaming himself, "Is it just because I'm a despicable human?" He fell into a river, floating on the surface of the water. At this moment, only his upper body emerged, and Chenbai thought, "I refuse to accept this, I won't give in." Ha ha ha. Even though his body was destroyed, he could still laugh. His upper body opened his mouth and laughed loudly, ha ha ha, his laughter filled with regret for his entire life. Then, without realizing it, he suddenly sat up, extended his middle finger, his face full of anger, gritting his teeth and saying, "Dark bastard Heloise. I will take your life." Before Chenbai could say more, the beautiful woman sneered and ruthlessly stepped toward him. She elegantly placed her foot down toward him. Chenbai's upper body was pressed to the riverbed, and his body began to crack and gradually dissipate. At this point, only death awaited him. Surrounded by water, Chenbai gradually lost consciousness, his body relaxing, letting fate take its course. The only thing that flickered was the hourglass hanging from his neck. Suddenly, the hourglass turned over. In this blank spacetime, the scene shifted to another place. It was still our protagonist, Chenbai, still angry, suddenly sitting up, extending his middle finger and angrily cursing, "You foul-mouthed bastard." This young man, Chenbai, as the protagonist of the novel, had been reincarnated into another spacetime after his death, still unable to adapt to this special environment. He suddenly widened his eyes, thinking, "Wait a minute. Didn't I die? Where is this place?" Our protagonist appeared on a bed, suddenly sitting up, looking around in surprise, thinking, "A university dorm? How did I end up here? Didn't I die at that woman's hands? Decades of real trials, how could this be a dream?" Then he looked down at his chest, remembering the hourglass and exclaiming, "Wait, the hourglass." He then recalled, "I got this hourglass as a tool at the start of my 20-year trial. From the moment the will of the universe descended, this was the most unique item I had ever seen. It has no attributes and cannot be destroyed. So I have kept it with me. The sand always stays at the bottom, even when turned upside down, but now it's at the top." He picked up his phone, holding it tightly, furrowing his brows and thinking, when the sand reverses time and space, does time flow backward? What is the current time? He opened the calendar on his phone and discovered, June 5, 2032, the will of the universe descended, 10 days until the trial begins. 10 days later, on June 15th, the will of the universe will begin to descend, and the trial will start. More than 90% of humanity will die. Humans will transform into various types of zombies and monsters. All weapons will be ineffective, and the world will face an apocalypse in just one night. However, with the danger brought by the cosmic trial, there is also an opportunity. The survivors will awaken their gifted abilities and obtain many magical items from the instances. Items will also descend to Earth according to the will of the universe. These kind-hearted people have even attracted the gods who control the rules of the universe. These gods cannot directly participate in the trial, so they attract humans to rely on them under the guise of protection to gain benefits. My previous strength was not strong, and I had to work hard to join General Herlois's ranks. I worked desperately to complete the tasks she gave me and tried to improve my position. But unexpectedly, I was erased due to a failed mission. Back to the present, our protagonist is checking the news on his phone. He is engrossed in reading each article, thinking whether it's a new plague or zombies from a movie. Patients at Longcheng First Hospital suddenly go berserk and bite people. A terrifying and strange event occurred when the forensic doctor in Jiangcheng suddenly woke up during an autopsy. Understanding the situation of the era, our protagonist stood up. Gripping his phone tightly, he expressed determination and thought seriously, "This time, I must become stronger, strong enough that I no longer need to rely on anyone or any gods. I must be strong enough to stand over the gods." Herlois, just wait. The scene shifts to Jiangcheng First Central Hospital. Our protagonist walks into the hospital wearing a loose coat that hides his face. As he walks through the hospital, he thinks the trial begins in 10 years, and someone once said they knew the only way to upgrade talents. He said, the talent activates 10 days before the trial starts, and if you can discover and use your talent, you can upgrade it. Chen Bai walks down the hospital corridor, his body covered in clothing, hands in his pockets, looking out the window, thinking, in my past life, my talent was antivirus E-grade. Based on this, I think I need to use the virus to activate and enhance my talent. Hidden in the corner, Chen Bai eavesdropped on the conversation between the doctor and nurse. The doctor looked at the data in his hand and said, "This is a strange symptom, never seen before." The nurse responded with confusion, "I think this patient looks like something from a movie." After they left, Chen Bai entered the room. At the end of the room, there was a hospital bed with tied-up legs behind the curtain. The man lying on the bed had bulging facial muscles, eyes without pupils, and sharp fangs growing, looking unlike a human. Now, Chen Bai stands beside the bed, holding a syringe and looking at the patient in front of him, saying, "It's really a zombie." He calmly inserted the needle into the zombie's arm vein while grabbing the zombie's hand and saying, "I want to use you to practice my antivirus talent, so I can only rely on you." The needle inserted into the largest vein, slowly extracting purple liquid. Chen Bai held the syringe, which contained purple-red liquid, brought it up to his eyes, and said, "This should be enough to activate my talent." When he returned to the dorm, his roommate hadn't come back yet. Chen Bai looked around and thought, no one's returned to the dorm, looks like they'll be playing games tonight and won't come back. At this moment, he took out the syringe filled with viral liquid, staring at it thoughtfully, his face showing some hesitation. He thought, what if I'm wrong? I might die here. His mind was filled with indecision. But Chen Bai still decided to decisively insert the needle into his hand and inject the viral liquid into his body. He gritted his teeth, his body trembling, and silently thought, no matter what, my E-grade talent was too weak before. For survival, I have to fight for 10 years just to make a little breakthrough. When the needle was pulled out of his hand, the veins on Chen Bai's body became swollen and purple, and the virus was gradually spreading inside him. He held his swollen hand, gritting his teeth as he endured the intense pain in his body. Many purple veins had already appeared, extending to his face. At this moment, Bai silently thought, if my talent awakens at E level again, even though I know I'll miss the chance. Due to my weakness in the future, I'd rather die early than stay weak after being reborn. Bai's limbs began to twitch, and he collapsed to the ground, his body seeming to fall into intense pain and exhaustion. All Bai could hear was his own heavy breathing. At this moment, in his subconscious, he was crawling in an empty place, struggling against the pain, and in front of him was a floating woman named Herlois. He could still see himself fighting the virus inside his body, so he couldn't stand up, but he could still hear Herlois calling him. Come on, Bai. Herlois' image and the glowing purple light appeared in front of him. She opened her arms, with a saintly maternal image, and said, give up resisting and join the darkness. As a humble human, becoming part of the darkness is the best outcome for you. His whole body went limp as he supported himself with his hands in the emptiness. Bai painfully managed to say a few words, Herlois. Then, Bai raised his head, and with sharp eyes, he stared directly at Herlois, his face full of purple veins, and firmly said, I will conquer you. How could I just fall here? The entire night was immersed in pain. The next morning, in Bai's dormitory, our protagonist was now able to stand. He staggered forward, his limbs stiff, looking like a zombie as he walked out of the room. At this moment, the door to the hallway was opened. Bai turned around, his face covered in red liquid flowing from his eyes and mouth, with purple veins bulging from his neck, and his eyes were a milky white, looking like a zombie. The three young men living with him were horrified at this sight, their faces turned pale as they screamed, ah ah ah. At this point, one person was holding a broom in defense, another assumed a defensive posture, and the third hid behind the door. Bai approached them in an unusual posture, his arms bent, causing the three to lose their composure even more. They shouted his name, Bai. These words once again woke up our protagonist, his eyes widened as he trembled, as if just waking up, with a confused look. This situation was incredibly awkward, and Bai didn't know how to explain himself to his roommates. He stood still for a minute, and the other three young men did the same. Then, Bai showed a friendly expression and looked at them, saying, you guys are back, knowing that he must look strange now. He hurriedly pushed open the bathroom door and made up an excuse, I need to wash my face. His friend, wearing a blue outfit, seemed a little concerned but only gave a perfunctory answer, After closing the door, only Bai remained inside. At this point, he walked toward the mirror, looking at the zombie-like signs on his body, which were gradually fading. Bai smiled with happiness and thought, it worked. That assumption was right, the zombie virus didn't kill me. My talent must have successfully upgraded. Then, Bai raised his hand and touched himself, silently thinking, I wonder what level my talent will be after awakening. Suddenly, a flashing light appeared above his head, as bright as lightning. Below it was a notice that read, Bai, congratulations on being selected as a pioneer and receiving the honor of becoming a pioneer, awakening ahead of time. Our protagonist stared at it for a moment, then seemed to recall something familiar, thinking, is this the voice of the cosmic will? Noticing that he had returned to normal, he started walking forward, continuing to think, if I've awakened, then. Then, he reached out and touched the notice board, happily saying, activate the honor list. The honor list displayed, Pathfinder, only those who use and train their abilities before the trial starts are eligible to possess it. All attributes increase by 5%, experience increases by 10%, awakening attribute list. Reading this, Bai showed a proud smile, excitedly thinking, 100% rose, perfect honor. I feel like I've found the light of life. Bai looked thoughtful, then glanced at the talent board. He immediately reached out to touch a stone tablet, his rough hands gripping it tightly as he began to awaken his talent ability. A system panel appeared, showing the talent, Virus Level King 3S. Our protagonist Bai was absorbing his talent ability. Purple magical energy like fire radiated from his entire body. Behind him, the image of his talent appeared, showing a demon. Covered in spikes. It looked filled with the breath of death and evil spirits, as though it were a true demon king. Chinbai thought about everything he had and began to plan what he needed to do. The king virus is the strongest ability in the virus category. It can absorb, use, control, improve, and even create viruses. He raised a hand, circulating his spiritual energy, and a lightning-like glow flickered on his palm as he thought, but right now, I can only absorb, and the range is very small. I need a lot of viruses to upgrade my ability. Chenbai made up his mind. Hospitals are definitely a good place to acquire viruses. He strode into the gates of First City Hospital, calculating how to easily and smoothly acquire a large amount of viruses. But this time, when Chenbai saw the scene before him, he couldn't help but feel surprised. Outside the hospital, many men and women were desperately fleeing, panicked and overwhelmed by zombies chasing them. People were screaming, "Help, run! It's madness, madness, run!" The zombies were extremely fast, charging straight towards him. A fat man ran up to Chenbai, shouting loudly, "It's the apocalyptic zombies!" Chenbai suddenly snapped back to reality, confused, and asked, "Zombies?" He then let out a low chuckle, thinking to himself, I remember now. In my past life, I heard someone mention that. Before the trial began, Jiang City experienced 3 strange phenomena, one of which was the hospital lockdown. The scene at the moment was extremely chaotic. The zombies jumped into the air, soaring dozens of meters, and crazily pursued the fleeing citizens. Unlike the others who were in a panic, Chenbai showed no fear. He took up a battle stance, thinking, "Looks like this is the blocked-off hospital." He then excitedly shouted, "Looks like I came at just the right time." Chenbai gathered his strength and leaped, charging at a zombie. He soared through the air and reached out to strike the zombie. In an instant, he grabbed the zombie's face with one hand and slammed it to the ground. He quickly used his ability, the King Virus innate skill, virus absorption. The zombie opened its mouth in pain. Faced with the magic flowing from Chenbai's palm, it had no power to resist. Chenbai directly sat on top of the zombie, continuously absorbing its virus. The more he absorbed, the more excited he became, craving for more. He said firmly, "This is great. Absorbing zombie viruses gives me virus points that can be used to strengthen my abilities." This action immediately caught the attention of the remaining zombies. They all turned around and attacked Chenbai. But he stood firm, sneering, "Today, none of you will escape." Meanwhile, on the 4th floor of the hospital, many zombies were looking for people hiding in the closed stalls. At this moment, a blond man was hiding in a restroom stall, his face pale and full of fear. He muttered, it's over, this door won't hold." The zombie was standing outside his stall, crazily banging on the door, trying to break through. The heavy thuds were deafening. In this dire situation, the only thought in the blond man's mind was, "There's no way out. I'm going to die." In the same restroom, there was another person. Under the pressure of life and death, he completely lost his rationality. And suddenly burst into laughter, ha 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 ha. However, tears uncontrollably streamed down his face. With the blond man in the stall was a short-haired female nurse. She collapsed on the floor, tears streaming down, her body trembling as she sobbed, "Head nurse. Director Lee." She struggled to stand up, but saw the blond man acting strangely. She couldn't help but ask, "Lu Feng, what's wrong?" But he only trembled, not answering. Suddenly, the man revealed his true face. As death approached, he completely lost control and suddenly lunged at the young nurse, his tone wild and terrifying, "I've chased you for so long, and you never agreed. Since we're all going to die, why not let me enjoy myself?" Before that? The girl screamed in terror as she fell to the ground, shouting, "Lu Feng, you're crazy. What are you saying?" Whether it was lucky or unfortunate, at this moment, the zombie's claws suddenly pierced through the restroom door, tearing a large hole. A disgusting, slimy zombie emerged, swinging its claws and lunging at the two. Lu Feng's face turned. Pale, trembling in fear, how did it get here so fast? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Suddenly, he grabbed the girl's hand with such force that it terrified her. Then he used the force to push the girl towards the door, and cruelly pushed the little girl towards the zombie. He pushed the girl he liked towards certain death with all his strength, shouting, "Ah! I don't want to die." Then he hurriedly ran to the window, thinking, this is the 4th floor, and the girl is being tightly hugged by the zombie. Lu Feng originally planned to jump down to escape, but thinking he was powerless, he painfully muttered to himself. It's just the 4th floor. However, the zombie suddenly lunged at him. It slowly approached from behind, opening its large mouth. At this point, it's a dead end anyway, so Lu Feng decided to charge towards the door. He used all his strength to leap, directly crashing through the door and falling from the 4th floor. The zombie followed him down, but it fell first. Fortunately, Lu Feng didn't fall directly, he was caught by the railing. At this moment, he was weak, and his body had many cuts from the broken glass. A few minutes later, the scene seemed to quiet down. The zombie's body was still lying on the ground, and the entrance was empty with no one in sight. He walked to the 4th floor bathroom of the hospital. He casually threw a zombie out the window. Chen Bai paused for a moment, noticing a short-haired female nurse lying on the ground in a strange posture. He approached the female zombie and said, "Great, she's a hospital staff member, looks like she was just bitten." Then, Chen Bai placed his hand on her forehead, guessing the situation, it should still be salvageable. Chen Bai then looked up ahead. There were 3 zombies struggling on the ground, but they soon became motionless. He thought, the military will soon block off the hospital, I need someone familiar with the hospital to guide me. Chen Bai crouched down, using his spiritual power, pressing his hand against the girl's forehead, trying to suck out the virus in her body, hoping to save her. He absorbed the zombie virus from her body, wondering if he could prevent her mutation. Strangely, as soon as he finished absorbing, her complexion became rosy, and she opened her eyes to awaken. The nurse immediately sat up, looking confused. Chen Bai, seeing this, didn't expect to save her and thought to himself, did I succeed? Fully recovered, the petite nurse turned her head, looking grateful, with her hands clasped in front of her chest, softly saying, "Thank you." He helped the girl up and gently said, "It seems you haven't completely lost your consciousness." The girl seemed to remember everything and replied, "Yes, I remember what happened." Chen Bai then spoke, "Well, now I need you to help me with something." The girl's clothes were torn, and she awkwardly covered her body with her hands, saying, "This is fine, but I'd like to change clothes first." However, our wooden-headed Chen Bai didn't care about this at all. He anxiously grabbed the girl's hand and shouted, "I don't have time, quickly take me to the place in the hospital with the most viruses." The scene shifted to the laboratory, where a man's body was lying on the ground at the entrance. After they entered, Chen Bai picked up a few small test tubes, walked up to the nurse, and said, "This will be enough." The nurse stretched out her hand and responded, "The laboratory is the place with the most viruses in the hospital. All clinical samples are tested here." At this point, Chen Bai picked up a glass, pouring the viral solution from the test tubes into it. The nurse asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" Chen Bai just continued his actions and reminded her to stay quiet. Our male lead was in the process of absorbing the virus. He extended his entire hand into the glass and continuously absorbed different viral bodies. The system prompted, first absorption, hepatitis virus. Absorption points +10, followed by influenza virus. And so on, his absorption points kept rising. The spiritual power in Chen Bai's hands had already transformed into another form and color. He thought, it's already absorbed, next is. Looking at his hands, He stretched out the other hand to touch them and continued thinking, use all the viruses to strengthen the zombie virus. Now, Chen Bai's body was filled with various viruses he possessed. He calmed down slightly and began organizing them. The Black Light Virus, K Virus, T Virus, the Lost Virus. It seemed that the most powerful ability he had enhanced was the Black Light Virus evolved into the Zombie Black Light Virus, with all attributes increased by 10 times and self-healing ability increased by 200%. Congratulations on obtaining the core foundation of the Black Light Virus evolution and successfully occupying it. At this moment, Chen Bai closed his eyes, focusing his mind and thinking, the Black Light Virus, it is specifically used for occupation and evolution. The next second, the nurse girl ran to Chen Bai's side and notified him, zombies are attacking. This made him hesitate, turning around. He saw a zombie at the door, its face pitch black, starting to stagger and run in. Chen Bai said to her, stay here, don't run around. Chen Bai quickly switched to lightning speed, flying forward to grab the zombie's neck, lifting it into the air with him. This scared the nurse girl, who trembled and held her chest. Dealing with this zombie was also Chen Bai's self-test of the powers he had just absorbed. He thought, the speed is much faster than before. This zombie probably weighs 75 kilograms, and I grabbed its neck effortlessly. Chen Bai's face grew colder as he chuckled, saying, just in time to use you for the next power test. Next is a purple magical force emitted from his hand that gripped the zombie's neck, slowly spreading out, looking stronger and more poisonous than his previous magic. Chen Bai's virus magic transformed into purple tendrils, looking very eerie. They wrapped around the zombie's body. Chen Bai's power now seemed almost like her Lois. These tendrils gradually thickened, tightly wrapping around the zombie's body, which struggled desperately. In the end, it was completely devoured. Only a round ball remained in Chen Bai's hand. This move was an evolution and occupation. It seemed that Chen Bai was now able to use the occupation skill, and he smiled with satisfaction. Then, the magical tendrils in his hand re-entered his palm and disappeared into his veins. He clenched his fist, puffed out his chest, and rotated his arm, thinking, very good, the absorption speed is very fast, and it feels like my energy has recovered a little. Seeing this, the nurse girl trembled in fear, her scalp tingling. She looked at Chen Bai in terror and whispered, did you just? She was so terrified by the extraordinary sight that she knelt down, shivering and too scared to speak. Chen Bai remained calm, casually rotating his wrist and asking, what's wrong? Trying to regain her composure. The girl sighed, then looked seriously into Chen Bai's eyes, saying clearly, you saved me, I believe you won't hurt me. I will keep this secret for you. Seeing the girl's proactive attitude, Chen Bai also became more open. He extended his hand and introduced himself, saying, okay, I'm Chen Bai. The girl, still kneeling, introduced herself, I'm Su Xian. Then, Chen Bai suddenly walked close to Su Xian, slightly furrowing his brows, what is that? Su Xian looked puzzled. He then stared out the window, calmly saying, the army and police have arrived. They've sealed off the area and are clearing the zombies. We need to go. Then, Chen Bai grabbed Su Xian's hand, pulling her up and quickly running while saying, hurry, take me to the rooftop. We'll leave from the rooftop. Su Xian hurriedly replied, can't we leave through the exit? We won't turn into zombies, right? A zombie fell from the ceiling, hanging upside down and watching them run hand in hand. Chen Bai turned his head and explained, I don't have time for isolation and interrogation. Later, this zombie appeared in front of them, blocking their way. It was naked, mutated to the point of not looking human, sticking out a long tongue and showing sharp teeth, looking extremely disgusting, which shocked Chen Bai. Let go of me, Su Xian. Let the little girl stand behind me, I'll face it alone. The zombie is really huge, 5 times my size, blocking the entire hallway, and its eyes are glowing as if it wants to swallow both of us. Su Xin was terrified when she saw this scene, her face turning pale. She stammered, saying, What? What is that? The zombie began to stand up, increasing its power. It opened its old mouth, its massive body and sharp claws howling loudly, the sound shaking the entire area. It seems this battle would be difficult for Chang Bai to handle. The giant zombie blocked the way. Chang Bai bent down, holding his left arm, with deep red tomato juice underfoot and Su Xian, who was anxiously standing behind him. Chang Bai pulled up his sleeve, revealing a small tomato-colored wound on his arm, accompanied by the virus magic power inside his body. Chang Bai bent down, raised his face, and revealed a strange smile, thinking, I never expected it to mutate like this. Chang Bai's expression turned more dangerous, his eyes sharp, and with a smug smile on his lips, he whispered, I wonder what will happen to the black light virus after absorbing you? At that moment, the zombie monster leaped off the ground, flying over a wall and charging at Chang Bai. It lowered its head, opened its mouth, and its eyes flickered with red light, rushing toward Chang Bai at incredible speed. Chang Bai quickly retreated, generating immense force through friction with the ground. Agilely, Chang Bai pushed himself higher and spun around. The monster missed, lost its balance, and its head hit the ground, falling down. At the same time, Chang Bai kicked out lightly, but for the monster, it was a deadly strike. Chang Bai then turned around with his back to the zombie monster. Before it realized his exact position, a stunned expression appeared on the monster's face, and its eyes turned completely red. Suddenly, it seemed to sense something behind it, and swung its hand violently to strike at Chang Bai. Luckily, Chang Bai reacted quickly, dodging just in time, nearly getting hit. Chang Bai landed safely and immediately grabbed two zombie corpses lying across the hallway, absorbing their virus. Meanwhile, he continued charging toward the zombie monster. The monster roared loudly and charged toward Chang Bai, mouth open, displaying immense speed and strength, its eyes red, determined to fight Chang Bai to the death. While still absorbing the virus from the zombie corpses, Chang Bai looked up at the zombie monster and thought, it seems its overall quality is inferior to mine. Then he released his hand, pulled back his fist, and a large amount of purple magical tentacles shot out from it. Chang Bai used the momentum to strike forward. Then he rushed forward and landed a heavy punch on the zombie's chest. The deadly blow sent it flying into the hallway wall, the monster howling in pain. Its screams echoed throughout the hospital, and Su Xian sat trembling on the ground, terrified. The zombie's chest had a large dent from Chang Bai's punch, and the wall behind it was shattered. Just one punch had left the monster stiff. At this moment, Chang Bai noticed something and thought to himself, too tough. Chang Bai then stepped back, his feet and hands scraping against the ground, trying to maintain his balance. At this point, the monster fell to the ground, face down. Chang Bai had not yet gotten up, turned his head to see it and thought it was over, but amidst the dust, it leapt up again. It seemed even stronger this time, releasing an even more powerful aura. Seeing this, Chang Bai was also surprised. He retreated and commented, this won't work, I can't cause effective damage, this might delay us for a long time. In this situation, Su Xian instinctively smashed the emergency box on the wall, making a loud noise. This timid girl actually pulled out an axe, trembling as she stepped forward and handed it to Chang Bai, shouting his name loudly, Chang Bai. This gave Chang Bai a great idea, and he turned around. The battle axe was thrown into the air, spinning around. In that instant, the zombie monster charged at him with incredible speed. Chang Bai stared at it and began to act. Like the wind, he swiftly jumped up, dodging the zombie's strike. Its claws were extremely strong, emitting red magical power, but unfortunately, it missed. At that moment, Chang Bai caught the battle axe thrown by Su Xian and loudly said with admiration, well done, Su Xian. He didn't land directly but instead landed on the zombie monster's shoulder, quickly bending down and swinging the battle axe, confidently shouting, come on, fight faster, end this quickly. Suddenly, the battle axe and a claw crossed paths, gold and white intertwining. Although it appeared fragile, it was incredibly powerful. As a result, Chenbai's battle axe hit the zombie monster, and its upper body splattered like sauce, its face contorted in severe pain. He himself was struck 3 times by its claws, but for him, these wounds were nothing. Still holding the battle axe, he smiled triumphantly. What followed was a chaotic battle. The two of them fought fiercely, nearly losing their sanity. They attacked from multiple angles, dodging, leaping, crouching, each one striving to be the victor. Chenbai treated the ground like stone and stomped hard. Then he swung the battle axe and turned around, shouting loudly, "Die!" The target was the zombie monster. Chenbai used all his strength to hurl the battle axe, but unexpectedly, the zombie monster suddenly leaped up, colliding with its knee. After some struggling, the zombie monster, exhausted, knelt to the ground, seemingly wanting to rest. However, Chenbai wasn't planning to waste time. He quickly swung the axe towards its head. He then bent down and looked at it, showing a victorious smile, saying, "It still has a bit of breath?" At this point, the battle axe had already embedded deeply into the zombie monster's head. Chenbai had to pull hard to remove it. He forcefully pulled the battle axe, while keeping his posture, his foot on the zombie monster's head, softly chanting, "Blood battles don't heal the wounds, the sun shatters the edge of the blade." The zombie monster's eyes turned red, its veins began to show, as if it was trying to do something. In an instant, the giant zombie monster stabbed its hands fiercely into Chenbai's abdomen. The powerful force pushed him tightly against the wall, and Chenbai was shocked, unable to resist. He painfully opened his mouth and vomited a large amount of sauce. Su Xian, seeing this, panicked and shouted in fear, "Ah ah ah." The battle axe in Chenbai's hand flew out and heavily landed on the ground, making a loud noise. Su Xian sat on the ground, staring at the bloody scene in shock. Chenbai's face was covered in his own bloody sauce, but he showed no signs of pain. He looked down at the wound in his abdomen, torn open by the zombie monster's 2 large hands. He laughed, saying, "Ha ha ha, about to die, and you still choose not to escape." He smiled and shouted loudly, "This is wonderful." Then he stared at the zombie monster's ugly face, provoking, "You want to tear me apart?" The situation reversed as the zombie monster's expression changed drastically. It opened its mouth full of sharp teeth, seemingly suddenly experiencing intense pain. From the place where Chenbai was injured, suddenly hundreds of purple tentacles emerged, wriggling with malice, wrapping around the zombie monster's hands. This did not cause Chenbai any pain. On the contrary, he became even more excited, jumping forward to attack the strange zombie, preventing it from reacting in time. A system announcement appeared, devouring evolution. Meanwhile, tentacles from Chenbai's bloodline had crawled to the zombie's neck, slipping through every small crack in its body, rendering it immobile. Chenbai stood in the room, using his strange powers, the terrifying tentacles tightly wrapping around the massive zombie. He looked down, showing an evil grin and said, "Now you're scared?" Then he squinted, adjusted his tone, and clearly said in a low voice, "It's too late now." Chenbai floated in the air, tilting his head to enjoy the power being absorbed from the zombie's body. Su Xian, exhausted, leaned against the wall. She then turned her head, giving a slight smile, though her heart was still filled with fear. She whispered, "It's good, Chenbai." The system announcement appeared again, devouring completed, devouring mutated zombie claw, level 2. After a while, Chenbai gently landed, probably having absorbed enough. Another system announcement appeared, black light virus evolving. Chenbai's hand emitted purple toxic gas, and from his fingers, the tentacles formed sharp claws. Another system announcement appeared, gained zombie claw bone ability. The earlier abdominal scratch showed that Chenbai had not been injured. Those tentacles now retracted back into his body, and he thought, devour and then evolve. He then extended his hand with long claws resembling ghostly nails, immediately emitting a bright light. He said, "I choose the black light virus, and it's definitely the right choice." Things didn't stop here. At this moment, hurried footsteps were heard, the arrival of the city's military. They were wearing bulletproof armor and raised their guns, shouting loudly towards Su Xan's direction. Is that a living person? Please raise your hands. Chen Bai was surprised to see this. In front of them stood a weak girl and a man. The entire Special Forces team formed a defensive line, suspecting the two of them, and then notified, I will count to 321. If there's no response, we'll open fire. The Special Forces soldier raised his gun and seriously counted loudly, 3, 2, 1. However, Chen Bai didn't care. He picked up Su Xan and coldly said over his shoulder, we should leave now. Su Xan, being held like this by the boy for the first time, blushed, shyly looking at him. At that moment, the Special Forces had shouted the final count, 1, then yelled, move. The order was given, and the guns aimed at their targets, ready to fire at any moment. Immediately, many bullets were fired at Chen Bai, and now he quickly accelerated to run away. As someone familiar with the hospital's paths, Su Xan saw an exit and pointed to the left, saying, turn left ahead to the emergency exit. It leads to the balcony. Chen Bai quickly ran in the direction she indicated, with bullets constantly shooting at him, some of them hitting him. Seeing blood splatter from various wounds, Su Xan looked at Chen Bai worriedly and said, you've been shot. Chen Bai remained calm. Eyes focused ahead, and said in a calm tone, I know, don't speak, don't move. Then he quickly charged into the rain of bullets. 10 minutes later, on the rooftop of the hospital building in a small room, Chen Bai forcefully held the beautiful girl, kicked the door open, and rushed out, kicking the door off its hinges. Then he stopped, looked at Su Xan gently, and asked, where do you live? Su Xan, being held in his arms, shyly replied, East Wind Road, North 4th Street, south of the district. Chen Bai gazed at the girl with affectionate eyes, smiling gently, and said to Xiao Shuai, okay, but hadn't yet ovulated. Chen Bai jumped with a burst of strength, causing Su Xan to sway unsteadily, her eyes wide in surprise. He had jumped from the highest floor of the hospital while holding her, and Chen Bai's explosive power was top tier. Confident in his zombie power, he carried the beauty from one building to another. Su Xan, frightened, could only hold on to Chen Bai tightly. Finally, they arrived at Rongfeng Community in South Bai, North 4th Street. Su Xan hurriedly opened the door. Her clothes were torn and dirty, but she still enthusiastically pointed in the direction and said to Chen Bai, the bathroom is over there, I'll help you treat your wound. Chen Bai's clothes on his abdomen were torn, revealing his blurry 8-pack abs. He calmly responded, the bullet isn't in the wound, it'll heal quickly, it's fine. Despite this, Su Xan was still concerned. As a nurse, she approached and said, no, I have to check. Chen Bai reluctantly agreed and took off his coat, frowning slightly due to the wound, and said, all right. In Su Xan's kitchen, the clothes Chen Bai took off were casually thrown on the floor. Chen Bai removed his coat, revealing a perfect physique that completely met female aesthetic standards. Su Xan was quite interested. But she forced herself to stay composed and pointed to Chen Bai's hand, saying, look, there are still marks here. Strangely, Chen Bai's body was smooth and flawless. Su Xan's eyes sparkled as her cheeks flushed red, saying, the abdomen and chest are the same, not fully healed yet. She couldn't resist reaching out to check. Chen Bai, showing off his smooth muscles, tempted, if I devour you, I'll recover immediately. He then lowered his voice, his gaze seductive, half seriously, half jokingly saying, so, what do you think? Want to offer yourself? Su Xan blushed deeply, gently wrapping her arms around his waist and saying naturally, you wouldn't eat me, if you wanted to, you would have already. This was too much. The male protagonist immediately approached Su Xan, winking mischievously, and said, then you're wrong, I didn't eat you before, only because the environment wasn't right. Su Xan's face turned crimson, her whole body stiff, unable to speak. Seeing she didn't resist, Chen Bai boldly pulled her waist and pressed her tightly against his firm 8-pack. Abs. He tore off her nurse uniform and said, "The environment's good now, quite suitable." Su Xan was too embarrassed to know what to do, but when she saw Chen Bai's 8-pack abs, she couldn't speak. He then said, "So, what do you think? Are you willing to let me devour you so I can recover?" Although her heart was filled with joy, Su Xian still tried to stay calm. She looked away shyly and said, "Clean up a bit, it'll taste better." Chen Bai gently placed a kiss on her soft lips, making Su Xian's heart race. He spoke softly, "All right." Soon, in the bathroom, a passionate kiss took place. Though it was their first meeting, Chen Bai's masculinity and heroism completely conquered Su Xian, making her willing to surrender herself to him. She didn't care about the gazes others had thrown her way. Then, sounds of letters being spelled out were heard in the bathroom, indicating that Su Xian was taking an English class. The phone on the table rang with a notification sound. It was a new message. From an account named Jiaomu, "Where are you? Campus Beauty Songgu is looking for you." Below, there was another message from Songgu, "Are you dead?" His roommate and he had already arrived at the first hospital in Jiangcheng. Before the trial descended upon Jiangcheng, many strange events occurred. The hospital was locked down, explosions occurred in the suburbs. A monster slaughterhouse. I'm not sure about the third event. There wasn't much information on the trial's arrival, and no one took it seriously, usually only mentioning it in casual conversations. Thinking about this, Chen Bai sighed and said, "Really gives me a headache." He was on the road buying breakfast. He hurriedly answered Su Xian's call and said, "Su Xian, I've bought the breakfast, I'll be back soon." Su Xian's voice sounded very anxious on the phone. "Chen Bai, 2 people came looking for you, saying that Song Ziqiang invited you to meet her." Chen Bai was surprised and asked, "Oh, Song Ziqiang?" Su Xian looked through the window of the apartment door and saw 2 men in black suits with black sunglasses, looking very dangerous. She worriedly said to Chen Bai, "I don't think they're good people." Saying Song Ziqiang is looking for you is definitely a lie. Song Ziqiang is the queen of Jiangcheng. Su Xian was very confused right now. She held the phone close to her face and anxiously asked Chen Bai, "What should I do now?" Chen Bai quickly gave her a solution, "They're not lying, just let them wait outside the door." Su Xian stammered, Oh, okay. Looking at the missed calls and a bunch of messages from someone named Song Ka on his phone, Chen Bai suddenly realized and thought, Song Ziqiang is Song Ka's mother, that classmate who has been pestering me. Standing on the sidewalk, Chen Bai put his hands in his pockets, thinking, it seems the young lady has found her mother. Interesting, if Song Ziqiang can find out from Su Xian's side, she should know something. Chen Bai's expression turned even colder, with a hint of danger in his eyes. He said, "Looks like I have to meet her." The scene shifted to a frozen warehouse in the suburbs. This area was owned by Song Ziqiang, who went from nothing to become the wealthiest person in Jiangcheng. She is the highest existence in both the black and white sides, and after the trial, she awakened her A-level talent and quickly built her own power. At this moment, Chen Bai stepped out of a luxury car, carefully escorted by 2 bodyguards, their eyes full of vigilance. To continue, the woman Song Ziqiang even unified Jiangcheng in the 3-party struggle. As the true queen of Jiangcheng, she was someone I could only look up to in my past life. Facing this capable woman, Chen Bai admired her, but also felt somewhat cautious. However, for the current Chen Bai, he was full of confidence in his already awakened talent. He smiled slightly, looking at Song Ziqiang with interest. Thinking, but now it's different. If I can conquer her and use her, I can do more before the trial arrives. Just then, a pair of feet in red high heels appeared in front of him, intentionally tapping the ground with the heels to attract attention. Chen Bai was standing in the corridor of the frozen warehouse in the suburbs. As soon as the woman in red shoes and red clothes appeared, the bodyguards immediately bent down and bowed, saluting at a 90-degree angle, and reported, "President Song, Chen Bai has arrived." The woman wearing a beautiful red cloak was the previously mentioned Song Ziqiang. She was the queen of Jiangcheng. With a slim figure and a domineering style of dress, the queen slowly walked towards Chen Bai and said to him, "Student Chen, sorry to make you come here, but I really have some things to take care of." Behind Song Ziqiang was a girl in a suit with green hair, looking very cool. This girl silently observed everything around her. After hearing this, Chen Bai's expression remained calm, and he asked, "What can I do for you?" Song Ziqiang suddenly walked up to the male lead, lightly tugged at his collar, and softly said, "I'm looking for you because Xiao Kai went home saying you went missing at Jiangcheng Hospital, and asked me to help." This surprised Chen Bai. Then, the woman tried to get closer to Chen Bai, shaking her voluminous hair as she continued, "I asked you here to see the boy who made Xiao Kai so worried, and see how much willpower he really has." Chen Bai was very straightforward, staring coldly at Song Ziqiang, and directly asked, "I don't like beating around the bush, Miss Song, what is your true intention?" Although not young, Song Ziqiang was still very beautiful. She turned around and directly answered, very straightforward, "Well then, I won't beat around the bush either." Song Ziqiang stomped her foot firmly, then spread her arms wide and invited Chen Bai, "How about becoming mine? If you like Xiao Kai too, becoming my son-in-law wouldn't be impossible." This matchmaker was inviting a son-in-law, but Chen Bai seemed uninterested. Just as Song Ziqiang turned around, Chen Bai immediately expressed his doubts. "I don't see any reason to pull me into this." At this point, Song Ziqiang turned around and answered seriously, "Seeing your brave performance at the hospital, anyone would admire you, wouldn't they?" Upon hearing this, Chen Bai realized what he had done at the hospital. Yesterday, Chen Bai thought as if electrocuted, the hospital? I didn't expect that what I did would be known by so many people. Chen Bai asked again, "I remember the hospital's cameras and power were all destroyed by me. How did anyone find me and locate me so quickly?" In the blink of an eye, Chen Bai followed Song Ziqiang to her luxurious apartment. As she pressed the elevator button, Song Ziqiang said while walking, "Don't underestimate Song Yi. At least, from the time you walked from the lobby to the camera, my people were still able to recover it." Standing in front of the elevator, Song Ziqiang took out her phone to show Chen Bai and said, "More importantly, at the hospital, I had my people there." She also filmed this. On the phone screen, a message from the green-haired girl Suong Ni appeared. She had followed Song Ziqiang. In the message, Suong Ni informed her that she was at the hospital and saw Chen Bai fighting with zombie monsters yesterday. Song Ziqiang could hardly believe this. Until Shui and I sent a video recording of Chen Bai fighting with the monster, our male lead is now being targeted by the rich woman, Song Ziqiang. Song Ziqiang handed her phone to Shui and I and gracefully and arrogantly continued, "Aunt Song has always had good luck among the survivors. Selected from the quarantine zone, I actually found a friend of Su Xian's, and they still maintain a very close relationship." When Lu Feng's name was mentioned, Chen Bai was also stunned. He didn't expect this woman not only knew him but also knew about Su Xian and their relationship. Flashback to the night before, at Su Xian's house, after Chen Bai and Su Xian's nurse finished pushing the cart, they lay down on the soft bed to rest. Chen Bai leaned his head on his arm and turned to her, saying, "Back then, in the bathroom, there was someone called Lu Fengxia. He not only planned to force you but also wanted to push you next to the corpse, right?" Su Xian, exhausted, lay on his shoulder and softly responded, "Yes, after he pushed me next to the corpse, he planned to escape through the window, but he was hit by the corpse, his head slammed into the glass, and he couldn't move. At that moment, Chen Bai recalled the scene and said, so that's what was hanging on the wall. I thought it was a dead person. At this moment, both Su Xian and he thought Lu Feng was already dead. She leaned on Chen Bai's strong arm and said, I hope he's dead. I will hate him for the rest of my life. With that, the matter was temporarily set aside, and Chen Bai gently responded, MHM. Su Xian, who looked delicate and fragile, was actually very capable. After pushing the cart just now, she turned around and asked to continue pushing it. She tidied her hair, her cheeks flushed, and shyly whispered, I feel much better, let's keep going, Chen Bai. Chen Bai felt a bit embarrassed upon hearing this, but he teasingly winked and mocked Su Xian, forget it, I didn't expect this to be your first experience. Who was screaming so miserably just now? Su Xian was at a loss for words and quickly apologized, it's fine, we still have time. After saying these words, Su Xian eagerly climbed onto Chen Bai's body, doing something indescribable. Chen Bai blushed, not knowing what to do, but his heart was full of joy. Su Xian said, no, today I must make my savior satisfied. Chen Bai could understand Su Xian, after all, she hadn't had proper love for a long time. Back to the present, in the cold storage in the suburbs, the elevator trapped people in the hallway. From outside the elevator, Chen Bai and Song Ziqiang could be heard talking, Aunt Song, can you tell me where the survivors are? Song Ziqiang replied, if you work for me, I'll tell you. What do you think? The two walked out of the elevator. Chen Bai, with a vigilant expression, said, Aunt Song really underestimated me. Song Ziqiang glanced at him beautifully and responded, that's right, with just this information, it can't change your abilities. But I can still. Chen Bai took the initiative to step forward, staring at the wall while pondering and said, no, Aunt, you're mistaken. I mean you don't know much about me. If you knew more, you'd understand. Pausing for a moment, Chen Bai smiled faintly, emphasizing the last sentence, I cannot be your man. Then, without hiding, Chen Bai used his magical virus power to grow sharp claws on his hands. Confidently, he said, obviously, you should be my woman. Seeing the strange scene in front of her, Song Ziqiang was surprised. She blurted out, is this the corpse mutation virus? Immediately, Bone, her loyal bodyguard, rushed over to protect Song Ziqiang. Afterward, Chen Bai waved the magical purple airflow in his hand, condensed it into a large block, and pressed it down hard with a loud sound, saying, wrong. Then, Chen Bai used his own power, continuously changing the strength, displaying a powerful aura. He stared at Song Ziqiang and mimicked her earlier words, work for me, and I'll tell you these things. What do you think? As a wealthy, beautiful, and older woman, Song Ziqiang stood before a boy around her age, still responding arrogantly but slightly dissatisfied, you really underestimate me, Chen Bai, with just these claws you can't conquer me. She then mentioned Su Xian again. Moreover, you already have a young and beautiful nurse. Why are you still interested in a woman like me, who's older? Our male lead is indeed a master, and soon he easily approached Song Ziqiang. He gently stroked her chin and comforted her softly, such a beautiful woman, who wouldn't be moved. Everything has its pros and cons. At least before the apocalypse arrives, you can help me more than Su Xian. Though Song Ziqiang was older, she still felt a little excited. Upon hearing these sweet words, and her cheeks flushed slightly, like a 20-year-old girl. Hearing the mention of the apocalypse, she asked, has the apocalypse come? Is it these corpse-mutated monsters? Chen Bai had just shown his disdain for the newly mutated corpses. He spoke with a masculine tone, saying, corpse mutants? These are just trash. At this point, Song Ziqiang looked at Chen Bai, her eyes full of danger, responding with doubt, trash? Seems like you know quite a lot. Chen Bai answered, more than you think. Song Ziqiang stretched out her soft palm and firmly said in front of Chen Bai, neither of us is someone who can be easily subdued. Let's cooperate, exchange your information for my help. At this point, Chen Bai immediately shook hands in agreement and said, okay. It seems the Queen of Jiangcheng is no simple character. Song Ziqiang proudly said, of course. At this moment, Song Ziqiang forcefully pulled Chen Bai closer and softly whispered near his lips, but I really look forward to the man who can conquer me appearing. Good luck, Chen Bai. Just then, a loud bang came from outside, sounding like a gunshot, which startled the three people inside. They all felt confused. Chen Bai quickly looked toward the door and shouted, that's a gunshot, what's going on? Bone's eyes showed clear unease. Song Ziqiang looked outside the window and carefully said, last night, Commander Huang sent Major Zhao from the Jiangcheng military district to negotiate with me. They have requisitioned part of the cold storage to preserve the corpse mutants and isolated the survivors rescued from the hospital. Chen Bai nodded, understanding. So, Song Ziqiang frowned and continued, this gunshot could only have been done by them, but how could this happen? The corpse tied only has about 30, locked in the cold storage, almost immobile. Our half team is stationed here. Behind Song Ziqiang, Chen Bai was anxiously pondering, rubbing his chin in silent thought. The corpse tide becomes sluggish in low temperatures, I didn't expect it to be discovered so quickly, but they surely don't know that the mutation speed of the corpse tide increases in extreme environments. Now, Chen Bai pieced together his memory. He calculated in his mind, outer ring cold storage, corpse tide mutation. After some deep thought, Chen Bai finally realized, could this be the location of the outer ring bomb? Almost understanding the truth, Chen Bai led the way, his eyes fixed ahead as he said to Song Ziqiang and Xiong'er. Let's go, let's take a look. Inside, he excitedly thought, great, I wonder what mutated monsters will appear. Ahead of them was a giant corpse-tied monster, 10 times the size of an ordinary person. It looked like it was formed from several corpse tides, its body covered with tentacles and human faces, looking terrifying. It was attacking the soldiers, who were struggling to resist it, shouting, grenades, throw the grenades into its mouth. The grenade was pulled from the fuse and lit up. It flew into the corpse-tied monster's mouth, causing a huge explosion inside its stomach. However, it didn't do much damage but caused the monster to mutate into several swollen, massive round lumps, looking abnormal. It painfully opened its mouth, with arms and legs of other corpse-tied monsters protruding from the holes in its body. After swallowing the grenade, the monster quieted down. Everything seemed to fall silent, with only the gradually dissipating smoke. Now, the soldiers in combat were confused, wondering if it was over. However, they still waited, watching the situation from the smoke. Suddenly, the monster appeared from the smoke, bigger and more terrifying than before. It grabbed a soldier and let out a piercing scream, wah! Facing this situation, the highest commander, Zhao Liancheng, helplessly began issuing orders, our weapons can't cause effective damage, everyone break into smaller groups and cooperate with others. Take turns throwing ammo to distract the monster, we must delay until reinforcements arrive. Do you all understand? From behind the commander, Song Ziqiang walked over and ordered him, tell your men to stop throwing grenades, fall back. Upon seeing Song Ziqiang, the commander froze for a moment, confused, and asked, President Song, what do you mean by that? Seeing everyone struggling against a giant monster, Song Ziqiang spoke up, her expression serious as she looked at it and said, what I mean is, you can't risk anymore. Don't let your people die for nothing. Facing this situation, Song Ziqiang could only tell the commander to retreat. Although reluctant, she still said, have your men protect my cold storage personnel and the survivors in the hospital, quickly leave here. The commander answered in confusion, no, this monster is too fast, without someone controlling it, no one will escape. At that moment, a beautiful girl fell to the ground, unable to keep running. She weakly reached out to resist the pressure from the monsters. Corpse tied. The monster's enormous hand was about to strike, potentially killing her on the spot. This girl's name was Luli. The situation was extremely urgent, but Song Ziqiang's expression remained calm, not panicked. She said calmly, "Do as I say, Zhao Liancheng need not worry about the monster." Perhaps because she had great confidence in Chen Bai, she was not concerned at all. Finally, she added firmly, "Someone will take care of it." Just as she finished speaking, when the monster's enormous hand was about to strike the fallen girl, it was stopped. Chen Bai, like lightning, blocked the giant hand and used his magic to stop it. Luli was then rescued by the army and sent to a safe place. Chen Bai's appearance was very cool as he blocked the heavy blow, but he casually said, "It was just a reflex, almost sprained my wrist. If it develops this far, it looks like we can't just brute force it." Then, the monster, having missed the attack, angrily swung its giant arm and struck at Chen Bai. Chen Bai's palm began to grow sharp claws made from magic virus. With the help of momentum, Chen Bai jumped onto the monster's huge arm. He tore open some cracks on the arm, catching the monster off guard. It painfully reached its hand out from its eye sockets. After attacking, Chen Bai retreated and landed safely. He balanced himself with his feet, while the monster bled from its skin and paused for a few seconds. The massive monster had many lumps and horrifying human faces on its body. It turned around several times, its face contorted, almost falling down with a pale complexion. It seemed like it couldn't identify its enemy anymore. It swung its arm and turned, then slammed into the wall, successfully destroying it. Upon seeing Chen Bai's abilities, the commander was greatly shocked. He asked, "What is that person? Have you raised a monster?" Song Ziqiang, with a proud expression, blinked and replied, "What are you saying, Zhao Liancheng? He's an ordinary person, he's my partner." Now turning to Chen Bai, he was standing on a pile of meat. The monster's eyes were glowing like fire, looking very eager. While Chen Bai stood there with his hands on his hips, looking majestic as he said, "This one can't be eaten." Purple tentacles emerged from Chen Bai's body, and they were glowing. He was using his evolution and occupation ability. Chen Bai continued, "These are for you, it's too wasteful." The tentacles erupted from the large mound of flesh beneath him, like tree roots, shining brightly. The monster saw all of this and became furious. It swung its fist violently and charged southward. The monster's attack power was strong enough to break through a wall. Its fist looked like it could retract its arm into its armpit. The officers on site and Song Ziqiang were all worried about Chen Bai. How could the protagonist lose to such an ordinary monster? The system interface appeared immediately, and the system notified, "Occupation completed, frozen beef system occupied." Meanwhile, Chen Bai was swiftly dodging the monster's punch in the air. The system continued to display black light. Virus is evolving. His strength and endurance increased slightly, and the monster's pain intensified. At this moment, Chen Bai was extremely clear-headed and handsome. He continued, "As expected of high-grade beef, it not only restores stamina but also levels up. Looks like it's almost consumed." In the air, Chen Bai still maintained his composure. He spun a few times before preparing for his next attack. The monster collapsed to the ground, writhing in intense pain. At this moment, Chen Bai decided to deliver a fatal blow. The viral magic power grew in his hands, forming sharp claws. He turned and accelerated, charging like an unstoppable force, shouting, "It's time for you to die." The monster fearfully covered its eyes with both hands, mumbling and letting out a painful scream. Chen Bai's attack was like a lightning strike, hitting the monster's head hard, causing it to fall to the ground like a large piece of fat meat, shaking the entire area due to its weight. Chen Bai didn't stop. He continued charging forward, directly facing the monster's body, scratching and tearing. it with increasing intensity, using his sharp claws. It was a true display of skill, not just about size. Qianbai silently hid between the monster's two hands, as it began to lose strength and staggered backward. He fought with the monster using his sharp claws of viral magic power. Qianbai softly spoke in an arrogant tone, just the right time. Then he showcased his evolution and occupation ability, with mutated tentacles extending from his body. Standing in the middle with arms wide open, he controlled the tentacles to grab the monster's enormous hands. The officers witnessing all of this were terrified, pale-faced, sweating, and whispered, "What is that? It's definitely not human." At this point, Qianbai just smiled and said, "Evolution, everything is too simple for me." Standing on a head 10 times larger than the monster's, Qianbai made the tentacles expand as much as possible, devouring the massive monster. Perhaps because it was so large, the tentacles moved slightly slower, but no matter what, the monster was in agony, screaming in despair. The officer still couldn't believe his eyes. He muttered repeatedly, "That's definitely not human." For some reason, this officer had an idea. He grabbed the walkie-talkie, his face darkened, and he quietly said, "By the way, while these two monsters are immobile." Song Ziqiang noticed something was off with his expression and immediately turned toward him, alert. This officer didn't consider Qianbai human. He planned to eliminate him for everyone's safety. He loudly issued a command over the walkie-talkie, "This is old Zhao. Has our reinforcement arrived? I want to request rocket fire, target coordinates are." Before he could finish, Song Ziqiang's long hand gently tapped on his shoulder. The officer turned around, fear on his face. He seemed to realize he had done something wrong. Song Ziqiang calmly and gracefully whispered to the officer, "Stay calm, Zhao Battalion Commander, think carefully. Right now, he's helping us, and he's also helping you." Behind her, Xiao Shui felt uneasy about his way of thinking. Song Ziqiang furrowed her brows, her face showing displeasure, and she gave the officer a warning look, "Don't do anything foolish, don't let everyone end up in a bad situation." 10 minutes later, multiple gun barrels were pointed ahead. Perhaps Song Ziqiang's warning didn't have an effect on the officer. Qianbai was surrounded by a large group of soldiers, fully armed, wearing bulletproof vests, and surrounded by sandbags. Qianbai stared at his hands, now the focus of everyone's attention. The officer lifted the walkie-talkie to his mouth and notified all team members, "The bullets are loaded, stay alert." At this moment, Song Ziqiang became a bit angry because he didn't listen to her. She then moved closer to the officer and reminded him, "Captain Zhao, don't forget what you said." The officer's expression became very serious. As he remained fully focused, but still responded to Song Ziqiang, "I know, I won't take action unless that person harms anyone." Ignoring everything around him, Qianbai lay on his back, enjoying the newly gained power. It felt like entering a secret space full of viral energy. Then, a system prompt appeared, first mutation, obtained zombie Rosen virus. Primary power, gained 500 virus points. System prompt, unlock virus king talent, virus transmission. Qianbai calmly raised his head, his gaze becoming more determined. Then another system prompt appeared, system prompt, devoured rare mutated creature, zombie Rosen stage 1 power, dark virus ability greatly enhanced. Qianbai displayed his power, transforming his mutated arm into sharp claws, proudly showcasing his strong ability. A new prompt appeared, system prompt, after decomposition, gained Rosen mutation power, hammer strike ability. As the smoke dissipated, Qianbai continued to throw a punch to test his strength. Now, after absorbing the zombie monster, he became even stronger. Looking at the changes in his mutated viral powers, Qianbai noticed his claws had become sharper, and the combat details had become more refined. Qianbai marveled, indeed, the evolution has made a huge improvement. I'm very satisfied now, having the ability to turn one hand into a sharp weapon, while the other expands to provide melee contact force. Looking at his expanded hammer-like arm, Chinbai thought with satisfaction, the hammer can feel powerful force, but it's a pity there's nothing to test it on right now. Feeling that it was enough, Chinbai muttered to himself, right, this is the biggest gain today. Then, he decided to retract the tendrils inside his body. Now, he held a red sphere in his hand, with a rubber-like outer layer and many cracks revealing the white inner layer. Chinbai stood with his hands on his hips, focusing on the sphere in his hand, thinking to himself, this rosin almond seed is a very rare material that can be used to craft equipment. If I find a way to control it, I could even build an infinitely growing wall with it. Holding the almond seed in front of his eyes, Chinbai looked at it for a moment, secretly thinking, should I feed it a little? Then try growing a rosin mountain. He didn't care about those who were cautious of him, instead falling into inner turmoil, as many were waiting for his next move. Song Ziqiang walked up and called out, Chinbai. Hearing the sound, Chinbai quickly placed the rosin almond seed into his jacket pocket. She extended her hand and said, let me introduce you. As soon as she finished speaking, a girl in a black tight skirt and shirt approached. She was very beautiful, with long brown hair, and seemed to smile brightly at Chinbai when they first met. At this point, Chinbai also remained polite, crossing his arms and briefly saying a few words about the girl. Luli, I know you. You're very famous in Zhongcheng, and you're also very influential online. Maybe you're the one who secretly filmed at the hospital. Upon hearing this, Luli was very happy and excitedly waved 2 fingers in greeting, then cheerfully said, thank you for saving me twice. Chinbai calmly approached Luli. The girl was a head shorter than him, and he gently lowered his head in response to her thanks, then asked, it's fine, I just killed Rosin, did you record it? Luli, afraid to disappoint him, quietly answered, sorry, it's my professional habit, I can delete it. However, Chinbai wasn't embarrassed, gently saying, keep it, as long as it's not leaked, I have a way to use it. The conversation was interrupted by the officer, who said with an unhappy expression, excuse me, is this Chinbai? Commander Huang from our military district wants you to report everything you know. Hearing this, looking at the officer standing behind the sandbags, Chinbai was speechless and suddenly remembered some past events. Commander Huang Xiang was truly an unforgettable name. After the apocalypse arrived, awakened individuals were treated like dogs and pigs, used without regard. At first, he was comforted by national righteousness, but later it became worse, with insults becoming rampant. Chinbai was one of them, living in despair every day, unable to even get food. Ridiculously, anyone trying to leave would be accused of treason. Then, they would chase them down until they were forced to leave Zhongcheng. Back to the present, Chinbai turned to Song Ziqiang and asked, Boss Song, do I need to go for the handover? At this moment, Song Ziqiang lowered her voice, glanced at the stern officer, and coldly said, of course not, I don't know anything yet. Chinbai smiled faintly and whispered, that's good. Song Ziqiang turned and walked forward, her demeanor proud and authoritative. She spoke, got it, let me handle this. Song Ziqiang walked gracefully towards the officer. Before she could speak, he hurriedly opened his mouth, Mr. Chen, Boss Song hopes you will fulfill your duties as a citizen of MANHWA. The sound of Song Ziqiang's red high heels stopping sharply echoed as she stood by a wall stacked with sandbags. She looked at the officer with sharp eyes, her face angry and serious. In a stern tone, she said, what nonsense are you talking? Don't speak to me like that. Even the captain doesn't deserve to talk to me. Go tell Director Huang Xiang to come to me if there's anything. The officer was left completely speechless, only able to stammer, I. Before he could say anything, a subordinate hurriedly ran over and reported, Captain, the staff in the isolation area are causing trouble. What should we do? Just then, Chinbai, who also needed information on the isolation personnel, stepped between them and asked the subordinate, the staff in the isolation area? Is there someone named Lu Feng there? Although he didn't like it, the officer gritted his teeth and turned to the subordinate, asking, "Is there?" The subordinate could only answer in confusion, "Yes, he's the one causing the most trouble." Chen Bai now turned seriously to the officer and said directly, "Captain, I want to meet this Lu Feng." The captain immediately agreed to his request. He ordered the subordinate, "Bring him here." The subordinate responded seriously and loudly shouted, "Yes." A few minutes later, a man in a white shirt with blonde hair walked over. He spoke, "Captain, did you call for me? Did my dad call you?" Upon seeing Lu Feng, everyone moved a little closer. Indeed, Lu Feng's face looked like that of a lowly person. After going through various events, he still remained arrogant and rude. Shouting before anyone could speak, "My dad is the vice president of First Hospital, Lu Weinong." Unexpectedly, a hand gently tapped Lu Feng on the shoulder. He turned his head to look. Chen Bai placed his hand on Lu Feng's shoulder and quietly used his talent skill to transmit the zombie virus. In Chen Bai's eyes, purple magic flickered because he had just completed the action. He glanced at Lu Feng, pretending nothing had happened, and whispered, "I came to find you to pass on a message from someone." Lu Feng looked at Chen Bai, confused, and asked, "Who are you?" Chen Bai leaned closer to Lu Feng's ear and deliberately mentioned Su Xian. "Last night, Su Xian was lying in bed and told me, because you pushed her into a crowd of zombies, she wants to tell you that you should die." Hearing this, Lu Feng was shocked and suddenly shouted, "How do you know about this? She can't still be alive." Chen Bai deliberately stepped back, increasing the distance, and then shouted, "Everyone, step back. He's about to turn into a zombie." This topic was too sensitive, and everyone became alert, starting to aim their guns at Lu Feng. He began shouting angrily, "You're the zombie, don't joke with me." At that moment, the virus on Lu Feng's shoulder started mutating, and tentacles wrapped around his neck. He angrily charged toward Chen Bai, screaming like a madman, "You bastard, dare joke with me? Su Xian could never be with you." Lu Feng managed to say a few words, "with you," before the virus's tentacles enveloped his face, making a painful sound, "Ugh. Ugh." Lu Feng lunged directly at Chen Bai. His body began to mutate from the viral infection. His hands turned purple, and tentacles emerged from his eye sockets and arms. Lu Feng gripped his magical power tightly, and the virus energy began to glow. Chen Bai punched hard, his fist growing to a size 100 times larger than a normal fist. The punch swiped past the officer's face, scaring him so much he nearly wet his pants. However, the punch was still emitting thick smoke. Chen Bai thought, "Not bad, the power is much stronger than I expected." The virus tentacles gradually disappeared from his hand. He spat coffee stains onto half of the officer's face, leaving the officer frozen in place, not daring to move. Chen Bai then turned and left. He turned to Song Ziqiang and said, "Let's go, Boss Song, your performance is up to standard. I can have a few words with you when we get back." Song Ziqiang paused for a moment after hearing this. She then gently followed Chen Bai's pace, softly saying, "You can call me Ziqiang from now on, or you can call me sister." Chen Bai was taken aback and confusedly asked, "Oh, why?" The beautiful woman approached, took Chen Bai's hand, and gently said, "I think working with you is a good idea." Then she asked, "Is it too late to become yours now?" Chen Bai's performance had conquered this cold woman. Upon hearing this, he didn't know what to say. Our male lead is indeed very skilled. He then looked into the distance and said in a deep voice, "Then it all depends on your value and performance." A white expensive car sped down the road. It was Song Ziqiang's car. Inside the car, Xiang Er was the driver, next to him was Lu Li, and Song Ziqiang and Chen Bai were sitting in the back seat. She turned to him and said, "It just so happens that I'm inviting you to dinner at my place." Perhaps after a tough battle, Chen Bai coldly said a few words, don't disturb me before we get to your house. In contrast, Song Ziqiang was very warm and quickly replied, okay. Sitting in the car, Chenbai put his hands in his pockets, giving himself some quiet time to think. Let's see what rewards there are for defeating Rosen. At that moment, a notification board appeared before Chenbai, displaying his inventory. Opening the inventory, there were actually 2 skill books. Looks like my luck is good. Then, another notification board appeared. Crazy bloodsucking actively increases all attributes by 3 points. Cooldown time, 10 minutes, all attributes. Reduced by 50% during the cooldown. Chenbai's gaze was fixed on the notification screen, as if focusing hard. This is not worth it for me. The 2 books in the inventory appeared on the notification board. Passive effect of muscle increase, muscle mass. Greatly increases, endurance and strength double. After some thought, he felt it was not suitable. This is not good. Based on my experience, using this would turn me into a muscle monster, lacking flexibility for life. Then, Chenbai squinted his eyes and looked at the system panel, carefully studying his strategy, although this doesn't help me. These 2 skill books are very valuable at the start of the trial, good for developing strength or winning others' favor. The system panel displayed another piece of data, 6 gold coins, 35 silver coins, 6 gold coins. Chenbai looked outside and continued thinking, when it comes to building power, we should already be in the early stage, right? The reward for killing Rosen is exactly 6 gold coins, enough to set up a chat group. A notification board appeared. Do you confirm the creation of the chat group? At this moment, Chenbai reached out and selected yes, spending 5 gold coins. Chenbai calculated in his mind, I can use this chat group to gather people and help them prepare. The stages after the trial are very complicated. Establishing relationships in advance is crucial. The system panel continued to display, you are creating a chat group, code 001, please name it. Choosing cancel will automatically name the group. Chenbai chose to cancel naming. The notification board reminded him, you have created the chat group number 001. At this point, the image of Herlois appeared in Chenbai's mind. She was the woman he hated the most. Filled with anger, Chenbai decided, Herlois, I will rebuild White Emperor City and turn it into a divine kingdom. You are my target. Chenbai's gaze was filled with fury as he gritted his teeth and swore, I will make you my most loyal dog. 3 minutes later, at Song Ziqiang's villa. As expected of the wealthiest woman in Jiang City, it was both luxurious and spacious. Chenbai sat on the sofa, crossing his legs, looking very elegant. Song Ziqiang was puzzled, and she touched her chin and asked Chenbai, from what I heard, over 90% of people in the cosmic trial will turn into monsters, and firearms, and most electronic devices fail, is that right? Chenbai put his hands together, speaking seriously and decisively, I can only tell you this, it's enough for you to handle and gain the upper hand. Song Ziqiang turned her head, giving him a light glare, and proudly suggested, no, not enough. Chenbai, tell me directly, how can I become yours? Our male lead leaned against the chair, one hand resting on the table, speaking slowly, first is ability, I don't need useless people. Now the male lead clearly had the upper hand, and he continued, second is loyalty, like an absolutely loyal dog. It seems Song Ziqiang had been completely convinced by him. Although she still maintained a dominant attitude, she was still focused on how to become Chenbai's person. Song Ziqiang squinted and said, loyalty? I can do that. She confidently stood in front of Chenbai, excitedly stating, as for ability, I think I am fully qualified. Power, wealth, status, no one in Jiang City can match me. Chenbai looked at her with a satisfied gaze and gently reminded her, the rules and values after the trial will change completely. Your current power, status, and wealth are worthless. They will only make you a more tempting slave. He then told her about the tragic ending of Song Ziqiang and her daughter in the trial. They were bound and hung in the air for auction, with many people below. Chen Bai told her, even if you're beautiful, wealthy, and high status, once the demon world arrives, you will have nothing. After hearing this, Song Ziqiang seriously asked, what's the difference between becoming your loyal dog and becoming someone else's toy? At this point, Chen Bai no longer hid anything. He stared into her eyes and answered frankly, one can exert strength in the arena, and the master won't restrict you out of fear, because I am always stronger than you, always above you. Song Ziqiang was moved by Chen Bai's words, excitedly waving her hand, flipping her hair, and saying, I think if I hesitate any longer, I might miss this very important opportunity. Song Ziqiang twisted her high heels, making a sound on the floor. Then, the woman whom countless men desired, knelt before Chen Bai. Although she was much older than him, she respectfully said, I am willing to offer everything to you, master. Chen Bai had not expected to reach such a level. Our male lead silently maintained his aura and said to her in a very satisfied tone, I must say, your reputation and status indeed provide a great spiritual value, it's really delightful. He extended his firm hand, gently stroking Song Ziqiang's small chin. At this moment, he looked at this woman, known as the Queen of Jiang City, and sweetly said, let me see your charm again. Then he assigned a task, also. I have a few things for you to do. Song Ziqiang allowed him to do as he wished, obedient like a puppy. Lu Li's phone suddenly received a text, startling her. Coincidentally, Su Ning also received a new message. On Lu Li's phone screen, the message was from Group Chat 001. It turned out that the task Chen Bai gave to Song Ziqiang was to create this group chat. In the chat, Song Ziqiang had sent two messages, Su Ning, tell Lu Li to send me Chen Bai's video and then send her home. She has been scared a lot these past few days and should rest. Also, get someone to push Chen Bai's website to a prominent spot on the major forum, with the title for the pioneers, and the ID Pioneer by D. Su Ning read through Song Ziqiang's instructions and thought for a few seconds, but did not respond. Su Ning immediately approached Lu Li and told her, the general manager wants you to send me Chen Bai's video, then I'll send her home to rest. Lu Li froze for a moment and asked, home? Is there nothing else I need to help with? Su Ning replied. The general manager said she has been through a lot these past days and needs to rest and recover her spirit. Lu Li, the beautiful girl, immediately stood up upon hearing this. She softly said, okay, although I almost died at the hands of a zombie today, it doesn't feel as intense as when I saw a funeral at home. Thinking of how Chen Bai saved her, Lu Li felt deeply grateful, not knowing if deep inside, she had already accepted the possibility of dying at the hands of zombies, but Chen Bai's power made her feel at ease. A while later, Song Ziqiang's phone rang. The caller ID showed, daughter. Chen Bai, seeing this, picked up the phone and was surprised, oh, it's Miss Song. Song Ziqiang's daughter, Miss Song, was calling her mother on the road and said, hello, Mom, Su Ning said I should come back. Is there something going on? Chen Bai answered the phone casually, saying, this is Chen Bai. Miss Song, surprised, asked, Chen Bai? Why are you the one answering? Where is my mom? He began to raise his voice, guiding Miss Song to return with a suggestive tone, she's eating while working, no time to talk, let's talk when she gets back. This is important. Miss Song, hearing this, became a bit worried and replied, okay, I'll be back, but you haven't responded to my message. Before she could finish, Chen Bai hung up the phone. Miss Song angrily clenched the phone, gritting her teeth, and cursed, Chen Bai is despicable, sooner or later, I'll make you kneel under my skirt. She was absolutely furious. The daughter had a headache because of Chen Bai, while the mother became a possible slave under his spell. Chen Bai arrogantly sat on the chair, stroking Song Ziqiang's hair, and she obediently looked at him like a puppy, saying, master, can you Protect my daughter too? Qianbai replied, her abilities are not enough, and her character has been spoiled. But... He then leaned closer to her face and gently said, if she works harder, I can make sure she won't turn into a monster during the trial. Song Ziqing was no longer the dignified queen, now she seemed no different from a young girl in her 20s. Feeling the man's touch, she blushed and said sweetly, thank you, master. At the secret hideout in the suburbs, Miss Song was sitting in the expensive car with her mother. After hearing everything, she asked her mother in confusion. Mom, aren't you afraid of being deceived by Qianbai? How can you believe such an unbelievable thing? Song Ziqing crossed her arms and leaned back on her chair, seemingly not hearing the question. She instructed her daughter, that's why I stopped you from going to find Qianbai last night. Don't speak when you get out of the car, just look at him sincerely. Seeing her mother's seriousness, Miss Song had no choice but to agree. Standing in front of an abandoned building, screams echoed from inside. Su Ning brought Qianbai here and said, Qianbai, I went to all the places in the city looking for signs of zombies and monsters, and in the end, I only found this place. Then, the skeleton continued to explain more clearly, this place used to be an underground casino, but now both the casino and its gamblers have turned into zombies, around 160 of them. There's no sign of special zombies like Luo sang. Looking ahead, Qianbai nodded gently. He stamped heavily on the ground and then supported his hands, thinking, a zombie slaughterhouse? No. No, absolutely impossible, because this is a family hospital. Luo sang is very difficult to kill. But this is a remote place, so if anything happens, it's hard for people to remember and spread the word. After thinking for a while, he turned to the skeleton and asked, have you been to all the places where monsters and zombies are said to exist? But is this the only real one? The skeleton honestly answered, yes, it is indeed the only one. Song Ziqiang and her daughter, Song Ku, had already arrived at their gathering spot, standing behind Qianbai. At this time, Su Xian and Lu Li also arrived. After hearing the situation, Qianbai did not rush to act. He analyzed. It seems someone is collecting zombies. The place where they're being collected should be a zombie slaughterhouse. The army only dares to collect dozens of zombies, but this person has collected all the zombie monsters. Now, Qianbai spoke with strong momentum. Is it a curious warrior or the well-informed pathfinder? This is really exciting. Qianbai gripped his right wrist, gently twisted it, activating his ability, and revealed a dangerous expression, saying, open the door. Upon receiving the order, two men stood on either side and opened the door. Qianbai stood in the middle, ready to face what was coming. As soon as the door opened, hundreds of zombies rushed out, each with red eyes, filthy faces, and curled limbs. The two soldiers almost fainted in fear. At first, a dozen zombies pounced out, each jumping 10 meters high, ferocious and hungry. Despite the chaos, Qianbai remained very calm. He locked onto one zombie, jumped up, and kicked it so hard that its body seemed to crack, sending it crashing into the wall. Su Xian's task was to pick up the phone and record. She was so scared that her face turned pale. Lu Li couldn't help but feel disgusted. She snorted, unable to suppress her feelings. Just a few minutes later, Qianbai's hand was placed on a zombie's head. His hand emitted a purple flow, sucking the virus out of it. The system immediately displayed a notification. Eliminate over 300 zombies. Congratulations on obtaining the title. Qianbai was enveloped in purple magical energy, as if charging, gaining a large amount of energy. He stood on top of the zombies, achieving a glorious victory. The system panel appeared. System reminder, Zombie Hunter E level, all attributes plus 5% increase in zombie kills. At this moment, the system displayed two new notifications. System reminder, 500 zombie viruses collected, can exchange virus points for zombie serum formula. Use in the zombie virus skill tree. Seeing this, a smile flashed in Shinbai's eyes, and he said proudly, "Zombie virus serum formula? This is a good item. Even the evolved awakening talent will be troubled by the zombie virus." At this point, the system panel appeared. "Would you like to activate the zombie virus serum formula?" Shinbai chose yes, spending 300 virus points to exchange for the formula. Not everyone can be immune to the virus, and only those with an extremely strong physique can resist it. After completing the task, the male lead stepped out the door, happily waving in greeting. "Song Ziqiang, tell everyone to come in. Do you all remember what I said before we set off?" 4 girls were waiting for Shinbai, and now they were ready. Song Ziqiang walked in front, confidently picking up a bat and replying, "I remember." Only Luli felt disgusted. Song Ziqiang tapped her bat, enthusiastically repeating what Shinbai had said. "Using cold weapons to kill zombies greatly reduces the chance of turning into a monster. Killing zombies with bare hands will definitely not turn into a monster." After Song Ziqiang finished speaking, Shinbai grabbed a zombie's neck and extended forward. "All right, then let me see your strength. 1 for each. Who's coming first?" It seemed Song Ziqiang would be the first. But after putting on gloves, the skeleton spoke first. "Let me do it." Shinbai decisively let go, and the zombie quickly ran toward the skeleton. At this moment, the skeleton also rushed forward and confronted it head-on. At the point of contact, the skeleton used her flexible body to throw the small zombie, spinning it around. The zombie was a man, but it was thrown to the ground by the woman skeleton, who looked at it with pain as it rolled its eyes. The strength was so great that the zombie's spinal cord was shattered, and tomato sauce sprayed out. Shinbai was very satisfied, smiling lightly and complimenting, fast and precise." It was Song Ziqiang's turn. She swung the stick in her hand and hit a zombie in a C-shaped arc, causing it to spew out tomato sauce on the spot. Not only that, but Song Ziqiang also struck its temple fiercely, hitting it several times, and the zombie's face completely collapsed, falling to the ground looking unrecognizable. Shinbai stood aside, arms crossed, looking somewhat dissatisfied. He stroked his chin and sighed. "Not enough strength, it fell once, but you need to hit it more than 10 times. Next, it was her turn. The zombie was beaten like a rag doll, its eyes rolled back, unable to move, looking very pitiful. Next to the zombie was Su Xian, lying on the ground, her legs clamped around it, gasping for breath. Shinbai stood by, feeling a bit bored. He directly mocked, "You're too weak, you were actually knocked down by the zombie." Seeing her daughter scared to fight the zombie, Song Ziqiang walked over to encourage her. "Song girl. Only one left." Song girl, with tears in her eyes, tightly held her stick. "Oh my god, I didn't expect this girl to already wet her pants before even making a move." Song Ziqiang tried to get closer, shaking her daughter to give her more determination. But Song girl, pampered since childhood, lacked bravery, and tightly hugged the stick, shouting, "I can't do it, I can't do it." Shinbai just glanced at her and said, "You got scared before you even fought, failure." Shinbai walked over to the distance and called out to Song Ziqiang, "Song Ziqiang, come here." She was comforting her daughter and replied, "Okay." As he put his hands in his pockets, he walked leisurely and assigned the task, "Lang Jiao has been to all the places rumored to have zombies and monsters but found nothing. This situation is abnormal, go investigate it clearly." Song Ziqiang dragged her feet behind, looking back at her daughter and replied, "Yes." Then she hesitated and said, "Shinbai, Song girl." Shinbai didn't turn back, just scolded, "Too bad, especially Song girl. I don't have time to train her slowly, you arrange it yourself." But then Song Ziqiang, with a hopeful look in her eyes, said, "But without you, the virus elimination ability will." Shinbai didn't wait for her to finish, directly handing her an A4 sheet of paper, which startled her. He said seriously, "Take this." After picking up the paper and looking at it for a moment, Song Ziqiang realized, the formula for the zombie virus serum? She continued in shock, "The process is too complicated. Chen Bai reached back to Pat and continued to guide Song Ziqing. You can put the materials into this formula and make the serum yourself. That's the value of this recipe. Song Ziqing then understood. She smiled with satisfaction and said in a low voice, "Thank you for your trust. I will do my best to complete the task and take good care of this formula." Chen Bai felt it was enough and prepared to leave. He put his hands in his pockets, turned, and said, You go ahead, have someone send me back." After leaving, Chen Bai looked at his phone, beginning to think about the current situation. There should be many people who saw the post I published. I wonder if anyone has contacted me. Chen Bai read through every comment on his account. One account wrote, "I'm the strongest on the grass." First met the White Emperor and Blue Emperor, then returned, expression like a dog. The next comment. "Lazy for 30 years, heard you can answer my question, I have a high math problem, don't know if you can handle it?" Another account wrote, "Hello, Pioneer, I'm the fool in biochemistry." Then, building forum. Uploading a picture, 3 points of experience. After that, White Emperor is the ancestor of mutants. I warn you again not to reveal mutant information on ordinary social platforms. Finally, boss doesn't pay salary, nice imagination. Which mental hospital did you escape from? Want to write a novel? After reading, Chen Bai sighed helplessly. What's all this? Just then, something on his phone caught Chen Bai's attention, and he was startled. A stranger's private message account was named I am not deep money, and the message read, "That matter, my big brother knows. I am the one who opened the way for you, your big brother knows." Big brother, why haven't you replied to the message I sent? You must have seen it by now. Our male protagonist began replying seriously to the messages from the I am not deep money account, whose name was White Emperor, the Pathfinder. Chen Bai immediately added the deep money account to the chat room. In the chat room, Han Xiao sent a message, "Really? I'll change the group name first." Chen Bai remembered a man with long hair, fair and clean, and he looked like a dangerous person. Quickly typing on his phone keyboard, Chen Bai wrote a reply, "Sure, if you think there are other Pathfinders, you can invite them all in." On the road to increasing his strength, Chen Bai seemed to discover more interesting things. His gaze became more determined, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Haha. A notification popped up in the group chat, "Welcome Shuichuan to the chat room." At 7:30 p.m., Lu Li received a task given to her by Song Ziqiang. She stood in a messy alley. Then, Lu Li's expression showed some worry as she continued, "I sent people to gather more information. Now is the agreed meeting time, but they haven't come back. I think." The scene transitions, and we hear Lu Li's voice from outside, "No need to wait anymore." After saying that, she walked out of the alley and saw a man and a woman on the ground, seemingly unconscious bodies, as if knocked out by someone. The girl was so scared she almost squatted down and kept trembling. She seemed to be crying. At this sight, a man's laughter came from above. Haha. It was a handsome young man with a refined look, sitting on a car door, waving his hand and calling out, "Hey." The trembling Lu Li heard him call her name and was suddenly startled. The little girl was still shaking. She looked up and said, "Hey, I've been spotted." Transition to Song Ziqiang's villa, where the day was sunny. On the phone screen, 2 messages from an account named Lu Cheng appeared. Chen Bai, sitting in a chair, comfortably read through Lu Cheng's information. He replied to the message, "The cost of unlocking abilities is quite high. A normal person's initial ability is only about 3 to 5 points." Seeing her, Chen Bai turned his head and said, "Why so urgent, what happened?" Song Ziqiang said with a worried expression, "Lu Li found out that all the collected bodies will be sent to the container yard, but Lu Li has been captured. The enemy wants me to negotiate." As soon as she finished speaking, Chen Bai suddenly stood up and asked, "Did the enemy contact you? Or did Lu Li leak your information?" These words made Song Ziqiang doubt, and she suddenly widened her eyes, as if realizing something. Under Chenbai's cold and serious gaze, Song Ziqiang hurriedly lowered her head and quickly explained. Master, Lu Li is the one I trained. I'm sure she won't betray us, besides, this time she was only giving instructions behind the scenes. The problem might lie with the people she sent to investigate. Chenbai lowered his voice slightly and said softly, in that case, I will save her. Tong Ziqiang supported herself and stood up, smiling and thanking him. Thank you, Master. The scene shifts to the container area led by Kai, where Lu Li is tightly bound to a chair. A man stands beside her, pouring wine onto a table that looks very expensive. This man is called Miss Lu Li. The man who had waved to Lu Li earlier was now shaking his wine glass while leaning on the table. This man is Xing Meng, who has a bad boy aura but is still quite handsome. Xing Meng spoke with an arrogant tone, trying to persuade Lu Li, it seems you've misunderstood something? I didn't touch you out of respect for Tong Ziqiang. If you choose to submit to me, you'll become my subordinate. If not, then, he squinted his eyes, and his tone turned threatening, you will be my toy. Lu Li, weak and bound to the expensive chair, felt scared upon seeing Xing Meng's cruelty. A broken glass of wine lay at her feet, scattered on the floor. He then brought the wine glass close to Lu Li's face, saying from behind, come on, let me pour you another drink. Spitting is not allowed. Lu Li tried to dodge. Her legs trembled as she struggled to push against the ground to resist this man. With a sharp tone, he said, if you don't drink the wine I offer, then the punishment drink won't be pleasant. He didn't care at all that the steak on the table was being sliced and enjoyed by someone, looking very delicious. Chenbai appeared out of nowhere, holding a high-quality steak, and calmly said, such a lack of manners, who knew the lady didn't like wine? Both Xing Meng and Lu Li were surprised by the sudden appearance of the male protagonist. Xing Meng frowned in confusion, thinking to himself, when did this person sit here? Chenbai stood up and held out the steak in front of her, deliberately provoking, are you hungry? I've tried this steak, it's fine to eat. Lu Li, saved by the boy, blushed with gratitude. Xing Meng swung his hand and slowly stepped back, asking, who are you? Chenbai didn't answer Xing Meng's question, but instead gently fed Lu Li a bite of steak and softly said to her, I've come to take you home. This might be the most delicious steak Lu Li has ever had. As the boy fed her, Lu Li felt so happy that a radiant glow of happiness spread over her, and she became emotionally moved by Chenbai. Leaning on the chair, Xing Meng swirled his wine glass and calmly asked Chenbai, did Tong Ziqiang send you? It's the first time someone hasn't been discovered by me. Chenbai untied the ropes binding Lu Li, and the ropes fell to the floor at her feet. Chenbai still ignored Xing Meng, gently advising Lu Li, let's go, Tong Ziqiang is waiting for you in the car. Lu Li quickly left and replied, okay. Xing Meng, seeing Chenbai's aura, immediately guessed and said directly, it seems Tong Ziqiang is already one of yours. Chenbai answered without hesitation. He stared directly at Xing Meng and decisively replied, that's right. Xing Meng strode forward, making loud footsteps, and laughed angrily, saying, interesting, interesting. In contrast, Chenbai remained very calm. Then, Xing Meng pointed the empty wine glass at Chenbai and said, the Queen of Jiangcheng shouldn't easily submit, you must have many tricks. Xing Meng poured another glass of wine for Chenbai, starting to create an atmosphere, we can exchange ideas. I'm interested in certain things. Among the three major forces in Jiangcheng, I've conquered the city lord, you've conquered the queen. Now only the commander remains. Then, Xing Meng walked slowly toward Chenbai with 2 glasses of wine, continuing to tempt him, help me become the king of Jiangcheng, and we can make you a trusted aide. Come, let's toast. He said a lot. Chenbai just lightly lifted the corner of his mouth and coldly said 3 words, I refuse. No one had ever treated Xing Meng so arrogantly before, which greatly surprised and embarrassed him. As a result, the 2 glasses of wine, just poured, were smashed on the floor. The expression on Xing Meng's face showed discomfort, and he said to you, beginning to threaten, I'm not afraid to tell you, my talent is S level, the highest rank. Or do you also like drinking penalty wine? In the face of Xing Meng's momentum, Chen Bai still acted very calmly. Jiang crossed his hands and walked closer, saying, I've already observed before I came. You not only collect corpses, but also make corpses from living people. After exposing Xing Meng, Chen Bai continued, someone like you, with great power, will only bring harm, it's better to die early. After saying these words, Chen Bai's attitude became even more terrifying. He showed a dangerous smile. Lowering his voice, also, you're not worthy of having me as your deputy, because my talent is 3S. At this moment, Xing Meng used spiritual power on his right hand, and his hand was quickly covered by sharp and rough claws. Xing Meng said, Haha, my talent is Slaughter Star Evolution, which can transfer part of the target's attributes to myself, and it can continue to develop. Proudly showing off claws as hard as steel, with sparks of electricity flashing all over them, looking terrifying. This guy continued proudly, this high-level invincible ability is just S-level, and your 3S seems close to becoming a god. On the surface, Chen Bai confidently responded to this guy, sort of, but I can't tell you. But in his mind, he thought, I didn't expect it to be a pure combat-type talent, constantly developing, and claws, probably equipment. Xing Meng charged forward, using his wolf-like claws to pounce at Chen Bai, roaring loudly, arrogant, after you die, I hope you can help me enhance my attributes. Don't let me down. The two fought. The speed of S-level and 3S level was so fast that all one could see was a big flash of light in the air and 2 strikes from both sides. Chen Bai also used his virus magic power, and his mutated arm turned into claws stronger than Xing Meng's. After they landed, they drew their magic blades and continued to fight. Seeing the situation was wrong, Xing Meng erupted with power. He suddenly used his berserk killing technique. His outer clothes ripped open, revealing swollen muscles, very eye-catching, and his eyes shone like 2 flashlights. Xing Meng said, so it's a transformation talent, quite interesting, but still not strong enough. Compared to Xing Meng, Chen Bai seemed to make no new moves. He was thinking, it looks like he hasn't revealed his real ability yet. I don't know what effect this skill has. I need to be more careful. Xing Meng leaped up, swinging a punch, with spiritual power condensed on his sharp claws. Chen Bai tightly gripped his left hand, his fist ready like a hammer to meet the confrontation. Boom! The collision of 2 great forces, with 1 green and 1 purple energy interacting, representing the heavy strikes of S-level and 3S level. The 2 massive forces shook the surroundings, causing the environment to suffer damage, and shockwaves scattered everywhere. On the container dock, Chen Bai and Xing Meng fought until it was almost dark. The surroundings started to be damaged, and Chen Bai used a single move to knock Xing Meng flying. But it didn't matter, as he successfully supported himself with his left foot on the ground and steadied himself by bending his knee. He then rushed again, one hand tightly gripping a fist and swinging it toward Chen Bai. Chen Bai forcefully resisted, tightly gripping his hand, and continued swinging punches at Xing Meng. But he quickly grabbed Chen Bai's fist, the big fist firmly held in his palm. Xing Meng smugly asked, are you all right? How come I've just started, and you're already exhausted? Both hands grabbed Chen Bai's fist, and the two fought, exerting all their strength to strike each other. We, from the south, are all working hard. But it could be seen that Chen Bai was already trembling during his confrontation with Xing Meng. He continued to provoke, aren't you 3S talent? Stop hiding your strength, let it out. Chen Bai said, my talent has already shown itself, it's just that you didn't notice. Estimating the opponent's strength, Xing Meng confidently swung both his hands, continuing to pour his talents. Spiritual power into them, the rotating strong power. Xing Meng triumphantly shouted, still talking tough. The next moment was Chen Bai's shocked and stunned expression. He widened his eyes to face the attack Xing Meng was about to launch. Just like that, Xing Meng's strike sent Chen Bai flying, crashing into the opposite container, with a powerful force that created a deafening sound. Xing Meng widened his eyes, looking at Chen Bai's performance, and mocked, "Your physical strength and agility are worse than mine, yet you still like to put on tricks." The previous blow made Chen Bai crash through a large hole, pushing him inside. Xing Meng clenched his fist and continued with sharp nails, saying, "Let me tell you, absolute power, your little tricks are nothing." Before finishing his words, he suddenly stopped. Xing Meng widened his eyes as a strange force surged from his mouth, something inside him was invading and starting to stir. Feeling the abnormality inside, Xing Meng thought in confusion, "What is this?" Xing Meng stood frozen like a stone sculpture, and system prompts kept popping up. Virus exceeds limit, immunity reduced by 2, stamina -3, agility -2, mental -5. Then more similar prompts appeared, showing a decline in Xing Meng's abilities. Then came an emergency status prompt, displaying the current situation, negative buff applied, afraid of light. Afraid of water, abnormal body temperature, sluggish thinking, slow movement, increased stamina consumption. Upon seeing this information, Xing Meng's eyes widened, and he said incredulously, "What is going on here?" In the ruins, Chen Bai propped himself against a container wall and stood up. He looked outside and commented, "Your physique is indeed impressive. The virus effect lasts a long time." Then, with a mysterious smile, he asked, "After contracting all these diseases, how do you feel?" Feeling furious, he thought he had won, only to be overturned at the last moment. Xing Meng exploded with power, energy shooting out, and shouted, "Despicable scoundrel." As soon as the words left his mouth, Chen Bai quickly approached Xing Meng, using his clawed hands to pierce through his chest and out of his back. Xing Meng was both shocked and in pain, screaming, "Ah!" Afterwards, Xing Meng was immobile in Chen Bai's grip, and viral tentacles started to surge from the wound, quickly overtaking his body. At this point, Chen Bai showed a smug expression, "Despicable scoundrel, I've already said, my abilities are extraordinary, it's a pity you didn't believe me." Soon, Chen Bai's viral tentacles surrounded Xing Meng, leaving only his lifeless purple face. Chen Bai absorbed Xing Meng's energy and said to himself, "I hope the absorption brings good results." He smiled with satisfaction and continued, "You won't disappoint me, will you?" Xing Meng was devoured, leaving only his claws on the ground. At this point, another system prompt popped up, absorbed evolutionary. Virus Black Light has completed initial awakening, enhancing attributes, becoming the basic attributes of the Virus King. Then, the system continued to display, system reminder, the devouring ability of Black Light has evolved, you can choose to view part of the target's memories, the probability is low, and acquire the skills they have mastered. After reading this information, Chen Bai rubbed the system panel and said, "The enhanced attributes provided by the Black Light virus have now shifted from active use to strengthening basic attributes. This is a huge benefit." After analyzing, Chen Bai decided to check how much these enhanced attributes had increased. He found that his stamina and agility increased by 30, mental by 20, and recovery ability by 100%. The system panel showed, Black Light virus, strength +50, agility +50, constitution +50, mental +40, recovery +200%. After reading the system panel's evolution data, Chen Bai knew, evolutionary 001 talent, Virus King 3S level, second. Level 1950/2000, strength 6 +3, agility 71 +3, constitution 61 +3, mental 48 +2, endurance, lucky coin 6, 34 silver coins, 91 copper coins. After looking at this data, Chen Bai smiled and said to himself, as expected, everything has improved, each attribute increased by 20 points. And all of these have been added to my basic attributes. Bending down to pick up Xing Meng's claws, Chen Bai thought to himself, it seems that before the apocalypse comes, I can't afford to play around anymore. Those with basic attributes under 5 are now too weak for me. Chen Bai looked at the system panel, recalling the abilities he had absorbed from Xing Meng. He sighed, equipment, blueprints, and this person's luck must be good. He must have killed mutant zombies before, otherwise, there's no way he could have attributes and equipment stronger than mine. The system displayed, Xing Meng's claws are zombie claws, elite claws, speed 10, strength 8. Upon hitting an enemy, it accumulates recovery skill, ghostly increases speed by 10%, attack speed increases by 20%. Equipment requirements, each speed not less than 25, evolution level. Below was an advanced blueprint, biological disaster. Material requirements, zombie claws, mountain meat, tyrant bones, mutated heart, lord's head. Upon seeing this information, Chen Bai exclaimed, this is actually an advanced sea-level crafting blueprint. This person's luck attribute must be quite high. Our protagonist is now much more confident than before, energized, looking forward to new battles to improve himself. He muttered, but now everything belongs to me. When leaving the container port area, it was already very late. As he stepped out, Chen Bai began to reflect on himself. From returning to the past until now, his talent had risen from E to 3S. The rumors of the 3 major strange events had also brought him rich rewards. Meanwhile, he had also conquered the future mayor of Jiang City, Song Ziqing. He walked to the car where Song Ziqing and Lu Li were parked outside. The car door made a clicking sound. Song Ziqing opened her expensive luxury car door and respectfully invited Chen Bai, Master, please get in. In his mind, Chen Bai thought, with my current strength, looking for those monsters that appeared sporadically before the trial descended is already a waste of energy. Chen Bai spread his arms and focused his energy to stabilize his own potential. He had changed his mind and decided that in the last few days before the descent, he would arrange and prepare everything to face the impending changes. After leaving the container port, everyone returned to Song Ziqiang's villa. Chen Bai stood on the balcony, looking down at the entire city from a high vantage point. He remained silent, deep in thought. The voice sounded again, it is about to descend. There was a knock on the door, knock knock, and Chen Bai turned and responded, come in. The door opened slightly, then slowly pushed open. It was Song Ziqiang, followed by Su Xian and Lu Li, holding some documents, seemingly for something important. Song Ziqiang was excited, extending her fair hand to report to Chen Bai, Master, fortunately, we have not let you down. We have completed the task you assigned on time. Lu Li, full of energy, reported, the designated area is centered on the mountaintop villa. All data, such as terrain scans and population information, have been confirmed to be accurate. After the apocalypse descends, we can begin the cleanup immediately and complete the full control and occupation. Su Xian lowered her head and flipped through 2 or 3 pieces of paper, reading the report shyly. The procurement of supplies has been completed, and the list has been organized and sent to you. Chen Bai didn't turn around, still looking outside, casually responding, but the previous arrangements, the 3 of us have already confirmed. Upon hearing this, Song Ziqiang asked, the time is almost up, do you have any instructions? Chen Bai picked up his phone, glanced at it, seemingly thinking about something else. He casually complimented them and then briefly responded, good, well done. Just leave the materials on the table. He gazed at the information on the phone screen, which read, the trial will begin in 10 minutes. Don't get complacent just because you took the lead and have extraordinary talents. Stay calm, the dangers brought by the trial far exceed your imagination. I don't want any of you to disappear in 10 minutes. Chen Bai's expression turned serious, and he thought for a long time, seemingly very worried. Now the storyline reveals the identities of the team members and points out those pioneers and gifted individuals. Just like the message Chenbai just received, a mysterious young man wearing a hood replied, "Thank you for the reminder, my lord." A beautiful girl with blue-dyed hair and a bold personality said, "Thank you, Emperor Bai." 9 minutes left. A muscular man who was working out also received the message and replied, 8 minutes, I can't wait any longer. A trendy young man obsessed with street style spoke up, 7 minutes, Boss Bawang, calm down. Finally, the obedient girl Lily sent a message in the group, 6. My lord, I'm too nervous. Everyone in the group chat was waiting for the moment the trial began, and every minute someone kept sending messages. Minutes left, don't worry, little sister, we're all here. 4 minutes, I'm looking forward to it. 3 minutes. At this moment, Chinbai called out to Song Ziqiang and the others, saying, come over here and take a look. Now only 10 seconds left, 9 seconds. In Song Ziqiang's luxurious villa, there was a spacious room that overlooked the entire city. Chenbai stood with his hands in his pockets, looking into the distance, slowly saying, this peaceful scene will soon be a thing of the past. The 3 girls behind him quietly waited, their eyes focused on the window. Seconds left. This world is about to face the apocalypse. 6 seconds. Song Jie trembled all over. She grabbed Xianger and said, her voice trembling, 5 seconds left. Xianger. I'm so scared. Xianger remained calm and comforted her, don't be afraid. 4 seconds left. Song Ziqiang silently watched this scene, not daring to blink. Su Xin tightly gripped the 2 pieces of paper in her hand, holding her breath and staring out the window. 3 seconds. Luli said nothing, not daring to move. She tightly pressed her lips together, trying hard to appear strong. 2 seconds left. Chenbai seized the critical moment and shouted loudly, 1. At this moment, he had waited for a long time. This was the time he could conquer and take revenge for his past life, his gaze resolute. Chenbai tried to stay calm, but deep down, he was filled with anxiety and intense inner turmoil. It was midnight on June 15th, and the trial had begun. The city was dyed blood red, and the moon was unusually large, as if also stained with blood. The air grew heavy and terrifying, and the entire world seemed like hell, with buildings collapsing in chaos. Is this the end of the world? The Blue Star Apocalypse experiment officially began, and humans must become evolvers to survive, using their innate abilities. At the same time, they could level up by gaining experience. Other races also rose due to the trial and would join in this life-or-death battle. Countless secret realms and world rifts would soon appear in the trial grounds for everyone on Blue Star. Whether this would be a danger or an opportunity depends on one's strength. Strive to grow, evolve. The trial moment has begun. The hourglass of time finished recognizing its master and began connecting to claim ownership. When Chenbai saw the hourglass hanging around his neck begin to glow, he looked down in shock and thought, time hourglass recognizing its master? The hourglass grew brighter, and now he was afraid that others might discover his secret. Chenbai thought, not good, they're still here, I can't let anyone know about the hourglass. He immediately ordered, quick, get out. Suddenly, something seemed unusual. Chenbai widened his eyes and stammered, you. The people before him, Song Ziqiang, Xianger, and Su Xin, all froze, losing all color, their skin turning black. The 3 women stood still like statues. Chenbai was terrified and lost his wits. He couldn't say a word, instinctively looking around. Outside, everything had lost its color, and it was as if time had frozen, the entire world appeared in negative tones. Chenbai thought in shock, the plane is falling, but it's frozen in mid-air. Not just matter, even space and time seemed to have frozen. Chenbai stood stunned for a long time, looking around blankly, feeling like a confused monk. He thought, it stopped? The hourglass floated in an endless void, like the universe. Chen Bai seemed to be trapped in an illusion, surrounded by tiny lights like stars in the universe, resembling a mysterious secret realm. The small hourglass around his neck began to glow, releasing a dazzling beam of energy. He had no idea what was happening, and Chen Bai was extremely confused, unable to do anything but let things unfold. At this moment, a notification appeared: the time hourglass connection is complete. A system panel emerged. And the content was as follows: time hourglass, bound to the soul, can actively rewind to any past point in time and erase everything that has disappeared in that timeline. Cooldown time remaining, 72 years, 6 months, and 7 days. This skill's cooldown cannot be reduced by any other skills or equipment. After reading this, Chen Bai finally understood why he was reborn. He murmured, "Return to the past? It seems that I could only be reborn because of this hourglass." Then another notification appeared, further surprising him: this state can be saved and read. The system panel displayed, "State saved," actively marking the current physical, mental, and skill status. No cooldown time. State reading. Actively reading the saved state does not affect held items and memories. Cooldown time 1 hour, unlocked. Requires soul connection to use. After understanding the system's intention, Chen Bai excitedly thought, such a life-saving skill is so powerful? Fantastic, the cooldown time is only an hour. Back to reality, in an instant, everything he had just felt and seen returned to normal. Song Ziqiang approached him, looking confused and worried, saying, "I felt like you just called us. Did you have something to say, or did I mishear?" Chen Bai said seriously to Song Ziqiang and issued a task: "You didn't mishear, everyone immediately go check the villas. Security. The night is very dangerous, order everyone to be on alert, and start clearing the villa after dawn." The three beautiful women obeyed Chen Bai's command and said in unison, "Yes." The next day, the entire city was in a devastating state, with buildings severely damaged and the landscape in ruins. In Song Ziqiang's villa, Chang Bai and Song Ziqiang came out from the main door, with groups of zombies below the stairs tearing each other apart, while some people tried to escape. Song Ziqiang quickly rushed down, took out an S-grade amethyst stone that emitted a purple spiritual light. A system prompt appeared. Analyzing the item, the S-grade amethyst stone can transform items into amethyst or turn into amethyst for attack and defense. In addition, Song Ziqiang was also equipped with a crystal copper killing weapon. A system data analysis circle appeared before her, with a system prompt analyzing: the stronger the mental strength, the stronger the power. The crystal copper killing weapon can change its effect based on the target's attributes, depending on the mental strength difference. The crystal copper killing weapon appeared in front of Song Ziqiang, analyzing the zombie rushing toward her. Ordinary zombies, if bitten, will be infected with the zombie virus, with the weakness in the head. Equipped with such an effective auxiliary tool, it was really too easy. Song Ziqiang immediately chopped off the zombie's head, splitting it into two. Chang Bai's training had made her very professional. At this moment, on the other side, many confused zombies were searching for human scent. In the distance, a familiar female figure stood on top of a tall building. It was the skeleton woman, exuding a cool aura. She crouched down, preparing to sprint, and tightly gripped her knife. The system prompt appeared: she is an A-grade assassin, with hidden breath, hard to detect. Agility increased, flexibility in the shadows increased by 30%, and the speed of her first attack on the target increased by 100%. The skeleton woman leaped with force, instantly becoming a shadow. She wielded the knife with ease, moving swiftly from one place to another, light and neat. Zombies piled up like wheat being harvested, falling down one after another. Truly, she was a super big sister. Suddenly, in the hall of Song Ziqiang's villa, a security guard wearing black clothes and sunglasses was holding an unconscious man, his eyes sunken in, shouting, "Someone survived, they're injured." Over here, Su Xin used her spiritual power with both hands, healing the injured survivor. Seeing the newcomer, she said, "Inject him with the zombie virus serum, and I will treat him immediately." She had awakened the Super Recovery B grade skill, which greatly improved the speed of wound and stamina recovery and could actively be used on others. The night scene outside had quieted down considerably, no longer as noisy as before. Chang Bai leisurely walked into the room and said, "The current situation is still quite good." Upon hearing this, Lu Li turned around and replied, "Yes, thanks to your prior arrangements, we have the upper hand in both geography and manpower." Walking to the balcony, looking down, there were large amounts of manpower and various materials used for shielding and protection. Lu Li carefully introduced, and there were no unexpected situations appearing. Chang Bai felt more at ease, looking up at the sky and saying, "All right, leave it to everyone here. I still have something to do." Lu Li smiled and responded, "All right." Unconsciously, Chang Bai shot up into the air like a gust of wind, moving so fast it seemed like a pillar of wind shooting straight up to the sky. This action had a side effect. Lu Li's skirt fluttered with the wind, and she shyly blushed and covered herself. Shortly after, on Dongshan Road, Chang Bai ran quickly like a whirlwind, disappearing from sight in the blink of an eye. At this moment, he was thinking, the early stage of the apocalypse trial was quite tricky, and many things like vehicles and weapons were unusable. While running and flying, he swooped across the river, estimating that his current speed should allow him to reach the destination. The first day of the apocalypse has arrived. Before my rebirth, I saw that thing appear at Jiangchang University. The symbol had appeared for a long time, and only later did I realize what it meant. Then I regretted not catching up with it. Chang Bai remained clear-headed and firmly told himself that this time, he would seize the opportunity. At Jiangcheng University, dark clouds covered the sky, and the gray sky cast a shadow over the area, making the place feel even gloomier. Our male lead was absorbing the zombie virus. Needless to say, moments later, they collapsed at his feet. Then, he looked up and smiled, saying with satisfaction, "I've arrived, this is it. All the evolvers are eager to see this symbol." A strange red phenomenon appeared in the sky, bright like fire, faintly visible behind the clouds. Chang Bai ran wildly, thinking to himself, that symbol shows that the avatar of the deity is about to descend here, it's really right in front of me. Suddenly, a man stomped heavily, catching Chang Bai's attention. The man loudly said, "Evolutionary, stop." A man with a large nose, wearing a hat that obscured his view, and dressed in a white robe, smiled as he said, "In the early stages of the trial, there aren't many strong individuals like you. I am a merchant. Are you interested in trading with me?" Recognizing this as an extraordinary person, Chen Bai immediately turned his head and respectfully said, "It's an honor to trade with someone like you." The mysterious man spread his hands and replied, "It's just a transaction with a merchant, there's no need for honor." Chen Bai slowly walked closer, showing a brilliant smile and appearing very friendly, beginning to express his admiration for the man. "I have heard of your divine name and read about your deeds through your emblem. I have eagerly awaited to meet you, kind, just, generous, wealthy, and immensely powerful." Facing the self-proclaimed merchant, Chen Bai showed utmost respect, bowing his head in acknowledgement. Chen Bai enthusiastically and clearly called out his name, "Trading God, you are Lido." This man, who appeared to be a merchant, was the trading god Lido, and perhaps Chen Bai would have to change some important things. At Jiangcheng University, the scenery was unusually dark. Lido handed Chen Bai a shiny green card and responded to Chen Bai's praise, "You're too kind. I feel we have a connection. This is for you, as a greeting gift." Lido, with his bulky figure, tried his best to hand the card to Chen Bai, ensuring he could see it clearly, and said, "This is the Goblin Merchant Guild's gold membership card. You can enjoy discounts when purchasing items at the guild." Qianbai took the card, appearing very happy and excited because he already recognized the man, thinking, I met him in my past life. This person is not immune to praise, indeed quick to respond and beneficial. I took it and said, thank you, you are truly as kind as the rumors say. Lido spread his arms and eagerly began to get to the point. All right, if you agree to trade, I'll show you my premium items. Detailed information about the two items he wanted to exchange appeared. On the right was the Thunder Walker Scroll, an S-level skill for lightning control. It could use lightning to enhance the body, control lightning to eliminate enemies, and had strong close combat abilities. The exchange price was an S-level upgrade ticket for 500 gold coins. On the left was the Grim Reaper's Touch S-level, a specialized firearm that only gun experts could use. This was the combined masterpiece of the goblins and trading god Lido. Qianbai was very surprised, his eyes widening in amazement. The Thunder Walker Scroll, I bought it here in my past life. There are so many precious items. Then he expressed regret, showing a sad expression and continued, sorry, Mr. Lido, I want these, but I can't afford them right now. Hearing this, Lido waved his hand, and the two information boards immediately disappeared. He did not easily lower the price or offer anything for free. Lido said, I know the trial just started, and evolutionary beings don't have much money, but my premium items are not trash. After you acquire some wealth, come back to trade with me. Qianbai remained silent, and no one knew what he was thinking. Just as Lido prepared to leave, Qianbai called out to him and said a few words, Mr. Lido, although I can't afford your premium items, I heard that gods cannot directly participate in the trial. Hearing this, Lido gave him a puzzled look, to invest in evolutionary beings, to profit from the trial. Then Qianbai respectfully said, you're here to invest, right? Lido excitedly turned around, his left eye sparkling. Upon hearing about the opportunity for profit, Lido smiled and said, haha, kid, you're quite something. You want me to invest? Qianbai seized the opportunity, skillfully mentioning wanting to borrow one of Lido's treasures. I've heard that you have a treasure praised by the gods, something no evolutionary being can refuse. If you invest in me, you definitely won't regret it. After some time talking, Lido conjured a chair, sat down, and continued his conversation with Qianbai. He crossed his legs and arrogantly mentioned the conditions, asking, investments must have profits. That's the kind of item all gods desire. What makes you think you can use it to bring me profit? Known for his stinginess and selfishness, Lido stared directly at Qianbai and said, even if you are someone I admire, I won't do a losing business for you. In an instant, Qianbai revealed his mutated arm, turning into a sharp claw, showing his Virus King ability to Lido. He clenched that massive hand, starting to demonstrate his power, and the purple light on his arm became even brighter. Behind Qianbai, a monster appeared. It was the Virus King's form. Qianbai showed Lido his gifted ability and current level, saying, look, this is my power. Qianbai's strength shocked Lido. He clapped his hands in praise, a 3S level talent, truly exceptional, completely different from any talent I've seen. Interested, Lido looked up and conversed with Qianbai. The blue crystal trial is indeed fascinating, truly captivating, but I don't plan to invest in that treasure just yet. Then he staggered to his feet from the chair, and Lido made a decisive response. Well, kid, I've decided to give you a chance. You must cherish this opportunity. He continued, if I hadn't seen your talent and noticed there was no divine aura within you, I wouldn't have agreed. Qianbai stood up excitedly, his eyes shining, and said with enthusiasm, can I receive that precious investment? Still not enough, things weren't that simple. Lido raised two fingers and waved them, interrupting Qianbai, talent doesn't guarantee the future, even among gods, there are those with below A-level talent. He then pointed at Qianbai, reminding him, if you want my highest investment, you must prove your worth through your strength and growth. A moment later, a system task reminder appeared in front of him. the goblin and trade god Lido had assigned a 3S level task. Should he accept the final investment in the first round? After reading the notification, Chenbai froze for a few minutes. Our protagonist calmed down and decided to respond, accept. This also marked Chenbai signing a contract. Lido took a gold coin from his hand and told Chenbai, after you complete the task, you can use this coin to summon my image. He flicked the coin, which flew in front of Chenbai, and then said, I hope you won't make me wait too long. Grabbing the coin with 2 fingers, Chenbai immediately inquired about the treasure. Lido, I wonder if you can let me see the treasure that the gods desire? Lido was willing, easily summoning a book surrounded by golden spiritual energy. Lido calmly replied, of course. This book was a class transfer scroll, a special 3S level item that allowed one to have 2 full-time jobs simultaneously. It enhanced both job attributes, with reward attributes and skills working at the same time. Seeing this high-level support item, Chenbai excitedly thought, 2 professions. Lido clasped his hands together, and all the images disappeared. He only allowed Chenbai to see this part, smiling mysteriously as he said, all right, kid, the trade is over, I must leave now. Lido's body gradually disappeared, like an illusion. He was preparing to teleport to another place and cheerfully said a few words to Chenbai, today's gains make me happy. After leaving, Lido added, I hope you can complete this trial. Only Chenbai remained, studying the system task bar in front of him. He muttered to himself, the task bar, huh? The system task bar displayed, final investment 3S. Task introduction, if you want to obtain the most valuable investment from the fairies and trade god, you must naturally present sufficient real information. Talent is just a stepping stone, and ability is the real capital for investment. At this moment, the system taskbar continued to display the current task's objective information. Task goal. Find a special secret kingdom instance in Jiangcheng University. Defeat the creature Lido cares about and take part of its body to Lido. Task rewards and explanation rights belong to the goblin and trade god Lido. After reading, Chenbai pondered, the reward explanation belongs to Lido? As expected of the trade god. There was some ambition in Chenbai's eyes, and he squinted as he thought, the rumors about him from my past life were really great. If I complete the task smoothly, I'm sure he won't treat me unfairly. He then tapped his chin with his index finger, looking up at the sky as he continued to think, but there's actually an instance in the early days of the apocalypse. It must be a very well-hidden instance. I've never heard of it before. Chenbai took decisive steps and walked away. He wondered inwardly, where should I start looking? In the teaching building of Jiangcheng University, the place was filled with desks, chairs, bookshelves, and other items, with students' belongings piled up in front of the main entrance, blocking the way in. There were many people here, and one group was bullying others. A boy, covered in bruises and swollen, was casually thrown into the weaker group. A tall, muscular boy, using his strength to bully others, stepped on a classmate's body and coldly said, now, everyone take off your clothes and perform a show that satisfies me. Beg to be my slave, hurry up. Then, gritting his teeth, he excitedly said, or you'll die. He glared and continued contemptuously, got it, you lowly apes? A classmate angrily shouted back, dream on, you smelly dog. Behind him, another boy struggled to get up. Both of them had battered bodies. The big man was waiting for this. He clenched his fists and angrily stared, his fury flashing like lightning. As he said, since you want to die, let me fulfill your wish. Don't worry, I'll make sure you die painfully. Naturally, the girl in revealing clothes was his subordinate. She grabbed him and whispered, Tom, you've gone too far. The man looked confused. He switched to an angry mode, suddenly slapping the girl across the face. She was sent flying, her face twisted. He yelled, get lost, you bitch. Just now, the tables and chairs blocking the door were suddenly pushed aside by a powerful force from the outside, and everything scattered and shattered. Dust and smoke filled the air, leaving everyone in the room shaken. The victims were all in disarray, their eyes wide in shock as they looked outside. It's Chinbai, our handsome and dashing main character, who else could it be? He placed one foot on the cabinet at the door and said, "Western thief, you're the one who beat up these students, right?" The tall and strong guy wasn't afraid at all, replying boldly, "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" Chinbai used the momentum to leap up, his palm transforming into a sharp claw. He calmly said 2 words, "It's you." Tom instantly filled with fear, and his subordinates were stunned. Chinbai struck from above, coldly leaving a remark, "Then die." Before Tom could react, he was killed in a single strike, collapsing stiffly to the ground, looking miserable. A foreign student, seeing this, tried to sneak attack Chinbai from behind, but how could these rookies possibly match our brother Bai? Whoosh, ketchup splattered into the air. The ketchup hit the face of the girl accomplice, leaving her frozen in place, her face full of confusion. Chinbai's virus-infused hand gripped Tom's head tightly, making him faint and hang in the air. Chinbai asked in a casual tone, "Are there any medical students here? I need something, and I need someone familiar with medicine to help." At this moment, in the gymnasium of Jiangcheng University, the weaker students had already been saved by Chinbai. After his question, everyone calmed down and started answering one after another. I'm studying engineering. I'm studying Vietnamese." Someone then pointed to the girl in revealing clothes and reminded, "It's her, I remember she's studying medicine." Seeing the magical fire burning in Chinbai's hand, the girl immediately trembled in fear, pleading, "Don't kill me. Please, I didn't hit anyone." The foreign girl then started babbling in a strange posture, "I like Dragon Kingdom people, yes, I'm white-skinned with blonde hair, yes, he's really nice." Everyone looked at the foreign girl's bizarre behavior, with the boys laughing loudly, except for one black-haired girl who didn't laugh but felt sorry for her. The foreign girl knelt down and cautiously begged for mercy, "Please spare me, I'll listen to whatever you say." The black-haired girl stepped forward to explain for her, she really didn't do anything, only those 2 guys did. After seeing this, Chinbai understood everything, his expression cold as he said, "I understand." After everything settled down, everyone started to leave the gym. Chinbai looked at the foreign girl and said to the others, "She stays, you can leave." The girl was shocked, her face filled with surprise. Then, Chinbai added in front of everyone, "Once you go out, follow the path marked by the zombies' corpses and head toward the East Mountain Villa area in Zhongcheng. Tell them Chenbai's name, and the people there will help you." A boy asked, "Leave now? There are zombies everywhere in the school." A girl in pink clothes chimed in, "The East Mountain Villa area is far." The black-haired girl lowered her head hesitantly, and everyone looked worried. Chenbai had other matters to attend to and couldn't accompany them. He tried to reassure them, "Most of the zombies that came here have been cleared by me, so you can go in peace. If you survive, you'll have a chance to evolve." His implication was that they needed to grow stronger to survive longer. Finally, he coldly reminded them, "We can't fight the zombies head-on right now. If they evolve on a large scale, you'll be doomed." Hearing this, everyone became guilty. In fact, nothing is more important than life and power at this moment. The black-haired girl happily approached Chinbai and brightly said to him, "I understand, thank you, we are leaving now." The foreign girl, seeing everyone leave, became uneasy. She walked up to Chinbai and asked, "Can I go with them? Why do I have to stay?" Chinbai remained silent for a long time, which was terrifying. Suddenly, the girl panicked, her cheeks turned red, and she seemed to be thinking about something, looking very shy. She asked herself, could it be? Then, she took the initiative to approach Chinbai and said narcissistically, "I get it, students from Dragon Country like beautiful foreign girls, you do too, so that's why you want me to stay. Then she added enthusiastically, "You don't have to act, I promise." Hearing this, something felt off. Chen Bai immediately rebutted, "Huh? I'm not interested in your kind of thing. Don't you remember me saying I need someone to take me to the medical school to get something?" The foreign girl was slapped in the face, her face turned red, and she awkwardly whispered, "Sorry, I was too panicked and didn't hear clearly." Then, she continued to overthink, assuming that Chen Bai wanted to do something inappropriate alone with her, and shouted, "But you can't insult me." Chen Bai turned his head and glared at her. Next, she proudly boasted about still being a virgin. The foreign girl nervously spoke first, "I'm not that kind of person, no one has ever touched me, I can prove it." Chen Bai just smiled faintly and said, "All right." Jiangcheng University Gymnasium. Because her pants were torn, the foreign girl tied her coat around her waist to cover it. She walked and gasped, complaining, "Hey, I'm exhausted. I can't go on, why don't we take a break?" Chen Bai remained calm, closed his eyes, and continued walking, saying decisively, "No." She was still trying to tie her coat tightly when Chen Bai directly reached out and hugged her waist, saying, "We must go." Chen Bai suddenly pushed her forward at high speed, causing her coat to fall off. She panicked and shouted, "My coat!" In the blink of an eye, they had already reached the medical school research building. Just moments ago, she almost lost her coat, but luckily, she hooked it with her foot and brought it along. She retied it. Embarrassed and complaining, "Hey, you're too much. If I hadn't hooked it with my foot, the coat would have fallen off." At this point, Chen Bai, indifferent, looked ahead and asked, "Is this the research building?" The foreign girl glanced at it and answered, "Yes. Only professors can enter the laboratory on the 3rd floor. It's said to have a lot of samples and virus data." A moment later, she cautiously hid behind Chen Bai and continued to chatter, "Also, the path to the underground is not the garage, but the crematorium. If we're talking about the most mysterious place, this is the one I can think of." Chen Bai briefly replied, "Got it, follow me." They entered the medical laboratory, which had many test tubes filled with different colored liquids. There were also many large, advanced pieces of equipment. This was indeed Jiangcheng University's virus research lab. As soon as they entered the door, something instantly caught Chen Bai's attention. He stared at it, excitedly exclaiming, "I didn't expect this place to be a treasure trove." The male lead quickly reached out to absorb the virus from the test tubes. Notifications from the system appeared behind him. First time collecting temperature-sensitive type D influenza virus, gained 5 virus points. Collected type B influenza virus, gained 0.3 virus points. Collected type A influenza virus, gained 0.7 virus points. Collected antigen mutant of type A influenza virus, gained 5 virus points. Chen Bai excitedly said, "So many flu viruses, it's normal, after all, this is a school." Finally, the system sent a comprehensive notification. Enough flu viruses collected to upgrade flu to skill level requires a small number of points. Seeing this, his eyes lit up, and he murmured, "Upgrade the flu to a skill? Let's give it a try." Immediately, a new system notification appeared, "Upgrade successful." Below it was the skill analysis. Acquired skill, influenza, can release influenza virus within a certain range to reduce the target's attributes and inflict a sneezing negative status. Activation interrupts all chanting, sprinting, and aiming actions. This skill's effectiveness is influenced by the target's form and race. After obtaining such fresh and practical information, Chen Bai showed a joyful expression, thinking to himself, "Not bad, this sneeze technique is really powerful." He then continued to think deeply, according to the previous talent system, I didn't pay much attention to the viruses that exist in reality. It seems I need to pay more attention to this issue when upgrading in the future. He raised his eyes, looking at the magical talent with hope, excitedly expressing his feelings. The 3S level talent is indeed terrifying. He remembered Lei Duo and then thought, I still have some ground trial points. The Goblin God isn't simple. I should use these points to improve my practical abilities first. Activate the Black Light Virus skill map. After absorbing several virus samples, he continued thinking about the 2 skills unlocked by the Black Light Virus. The upgraded passive skill Flying Wall Glide allows him to firmly attach to any surface with the Black Light Virus. Meanwhile, his sense of balance and direction was significantly improved. The upgraded active skill Focus Battle concentrates his spirit, greatly enhancing his vision and reaction ability, strengthening muscle control in all parts of his body. Chenbai clenched his fists, focused his mind, and his muscles began to move, his arms trembling. His arms gradually approached the wall, and Chenbai wondered, is it the same for all my muscles? Just using force wasn't enough. He pushed a little, and the entire wall cracked into many small pieces. The foreign girl, seeing this, couldn't believe it. She covered her mouth with her hand, fearing Chenbai even more after overthinking the situation. She covered her mouth to avoid making a sound, panicking, thinking, did he cause that vibration just now? Luckily, he didn't use that move, otherwise, my bones would have shattered. Chenbai focused on his own strength, seemingly forgetting everything around him, thinking. So this is how it works. If I can control my muscles, short-range attacks are no problem. Even a hair can exert full force. The girl was indeed a troublesome presence. After completing the task, Chenbai turned and noticed the foreign girl acting strangely. He asked, why are you blushing? She touched her face and awkwardly replied, it's nothing. Chenbai decided to go somewhere else and said, there's nothing I need here. Let's go find something else. Soon, the two arrived at the public teacher storage room underground in the Virus Research Institute. The foreign girl noticed how dim it was and said, Chen, there are no lights here, it's too dark. Just as they were walking, Chenbai suddenly stopped because something appeared. He paused and said, wait a moment, something's here. A room appeared in front of them, with a red room sign at the top. Chenbai joyfully shouted, oh, it's here. The door opened, and the two were about to enter. The room sign only indicated a barbecue room. Chenbai pushed the door open with both hands, worried the girl might be in danger, so he said, you wait here. However, the foreign girl was more afraid to be alone there. She wandered around, looking around, and answered, Chen, I'm scared. Chenbai walked closer to the circle with many flames, surrounded by a circle resembling a spell or formation. A system announcement appeared, indicating, you have entered the Cooling Hell Dungeon, level 5 to 10 required. Chenbai stopped thinking and raised his hand to enter the red circle, calmly saying, accept. Half an hour later, the system announcement appeared, you have entered a special dungeon. After successfully clearing the cooling furnace, it can be converted into permanent. If you don't pass this level within 2 days, the dungeon will disappear permanently. Upon entry, it is a cold area, with a massive furnace in front of Chen Bai, connected to a chimney. Behind it were several hospital beds, with corpses wrapped in cloth. After seeing the tight layout, Chenbai muttered, no wonder I've never heard of this place. Upon sensing the smell of humans, the corpses lying under the white cloth automatically woke up, tearing through the cloth. Chenbai was ready for battle. He summoned the power of the virus and said, come at me. 2 zombies stood up. One jumped high, mutated into a form with many legs and 2 hands, pouncing like a hungry ghost. The corpses on the ground ripped off the cloth, signaling other terrifying monsters to start crawling out. The multi-legged zombie crawled on the ceiling like a spider, completely exposed. On the floor, there was a monster over 2 meters long, crawling like a lizard, approaching Chenbai's feet. Chenbai gritted his teeth, struggling to assess the situation. Chenbai used a powerful strike with his right arm, successfully slicing the crawling zombie in half. The system prompted, defeated the level 5 reborn body teacher, gained 400 experience. Looking up at the multi-legged zombie crawling on the ceiling, it opened its mouth and yawned, releasing a wave of green ghostly energy, its posture extremely eerie. A circular, impressive ghostly energy wave shot from its tiny mouth toward the ceiling. The surrounding wind was as fierce as a storm, and Chen Bai quickly dodged to the side. He looked up at it, thinking, no wonder I couldn't charge at it together. It has this kind of ability. He then used the force to leap and softly said, it's starting a bit slow. Chen Bai swung his fist filled with purple ghostly energy from his left hand, charging at the zombie with sharp eyes, coldly saying, die. Soaring up, he struck a heavy punch at the zombie, pressing it hard against the ceiling as the zombie howled in pain. A second later, the system interface appeared, level 7 combined small spider killed, 1000 experience points gained. Chen Bai landed, propped himself up, and glanced at the zombie that had also fallen. Its legs twisted upward, and he thought, as expected of a special dungeon, the experience is indeed high. The commotion woke up the zombies on the bed, and more zombies stood up. Those under the blanket crawled out, while others crawled on the ceiling. The zombies that had burst out from the furnace shattered loudly. The game difficulty, Chen Bai liked more. He smiled with excitement and shouted, come quickly, the more the better. The result was easy to predict. 2 system interfaces appeared, 400 experience points gained and 1000 experience points gained. Chen Bai continuously punched every zombie. The system kept announcing experience points, 1000, 400, 200, continuing until the last zombie. A minute later, all the zombies fell under Chen Bai's attacks, their bodies hitting the ground, dust scattering. The system interface appeared, indicating that after the battle, Chen Bai leveled up. The system reminded, level up, you have gained 2 free attribute points. From the large furnace in front of Chen Bai, knocking sounds and noisy shouting came. Chen Bai slowly walked closer and said hollowly, your underlings are all dead, why aren't you coming out? Need me to help? Just as he was about to act, a loud crash came from the furnace, and the furnace door was knocked off. Chen Bai looked warily ahead, his eyes filled with doubt. A dirty purple lump of flesh crawled out from the furnace, with eyes and a nose, resembling a strange insect. Chen Bai was also surprised and thought, how is this possible? Why does this lump of flesh feel so dangerous? Should I kill it before it transforms? He observed cautiously. The creature quickly grew legs and crawled out of the door, moving exceptionally fast. Chen Bai activated his ghostly energy professional skills and charged at it, ready to stab into its body, but the creature quickly formed a strong arm and easily blocked him. It released a puff of purple virus mist, which was an evolved flu virus. The virus mist quickly spread around the creature's mouth. The lump of flesh almost mutated, growing limbs, preparing to stand. The system displayed, target skill ineffective. The lump of flesh became even larger, and it swung its arm with force, only a hot red light visible. Its attack sent Chen Bai flying, dust rising. Hit hard into the ground, Chen Bai endured the pain from the debris, frowned, and couldn't help but click his tongue. Seems like this is a tough problem for our protagonist. The creature had now successfully evolved into a huge, strong body with a head resembling a fly's head, surrounded by a scorching aura. It was referred to as a biological monster. Without hesitation, the biological monster charged at Chen Bai, opening its mouth to emit a long, shrill scream. Chen Bai quickly reacted, jumping high to dodge the attack, then got closer to the monster, launching a dual-wave attack that destroyed the surrounding environment. After landing a blow to the biological monster's head, Chen Bai successfully rolled away. He repositioned behind the monster, moving steadily with his ankles firmly on the ground, facing this tough opponent. Chen Bai looked up, showing an excited expression, saying, since my rebirth, nothing has made me go all out. In a few days, my hands will start to rust. While focusing, he murmured, determined to conquer it. Looks like I'll have to use you to activate it. A minute later, the battle became more intense, and the monster still had enough power to keep fighting. Chen Bai kicked its shoulder hard, and the monster quickly healed itself. No matter how he attacked, it seemed ineffective. And Chen Bai looked exhausted. He stared at the biological monster, thinking, interesting, infinite rebirth? At this point, he took out his treasure, the hourglass that kept rotating, emitting a green light, a state known as the exclusive state. After landing, Chen Bai stomped the ground heavily and coldly said, I want to see if you really can't die. A minute later, with the help of the hourglass, the biological monster was already exhausted, its outer skin beginning to peel off in large chunks, and it trembled. Chen Bai happily asked, why so slow? Could it be that it can't recover anymore? After another hour, the biological monster was squirming and trembling weakly on the ground. Chen Bai walked around and said, hurry up, I'm not done yet. After another hour, it had turned back into a mass of meat, but this mass was smaller than when it first appeared. Only then did Chen Bai decide to stop, saying, it should be unable to recover now. Then, with a very casual tone, he insulted the monster, saying, this feels great, it's almost over. He decisively stepped on it, crushing it into pieces, splattering everywhere like a puddle of mud on the ground. The system panel appeared, level 8 biological monster boss killed, gained 10,000 experience points, level up, current. Level 5. You gained 2 free attribute points. Hearing this new message, Chen Bai was stunned, surprised at how quickly he leveled up. Then, the system continued to pop up new announcements, successfully completed, you can leave the dungeon at any time. The cooling furnace dungeon has become a permanent dungeon, with a refresh time of 3 days. Do you want to upload the completion video as a paid guide? All earnings will go to the uploader. You can choose to upload anonymously and set your own viewing price. After a series of system announcements, Chen Bai carefully checked and then chose to upload anonymously. East Mountain Villa area, Song Ziqiang's villa. Su Xin was taking care of Song Ziqiang, sitting on a small chair by the bed. Song Ziqiang seemed to see something. Immediately struggling to sit up, her lips trembling slightly, Bai. Su Xin glanced curiously at her. A new announcement popped up in the chat group. Announcement, Evolutionist Bai has uploaded the Cooling Furnace Nightmare level dungeon completion video. Levels 5 to 10 can watch it, priced at 1 copper coin. A video of Chen Bai battling the biological monster was attached below. 2 young girls squeezed closer to the screen, trying to see clearly, and said in unison, quick, take a look. At this moment, the other members of Chatroom 001 also received the video. Everyone had different reactions after watching it, but overall, their goals were the same. Bone's eyes were glued to the screen, and after watching the video, he couldn't help but exclaim, it's too fast, I need to slow down the playback speed to see it clearly. Brother Bai is amazing. A black-haired male professional in the group shouted excitedly, Brother Bai is so powerful. A tall and muscular man repeatedly exclaimed in shock, impossible. That monster's recovery ability is far stronger than Brother Bai's. For Brother Bai to fight like that is a bit too risky, isn't it? A pink-haired lowly, after watching the video, praised with admiration, Emperor Bai has fully recovered. The chat group was filled with enthusiastic discussions about the video. Back in the cooling furnace dungeon where Chen Bai was, he was absorbing the virus, and the room was empty except for him. The system panel appeared, special composite organism devoured, gained 300 black light virus exclusive evolution points. Reaching out to absorb the magic virus, Chen Bai's body shuddered slightly as he muttered to himself, the exclusive evolution points of the black light virus are different from the talent evolution points, they can only be used to enhance the abilities and skills of the black light virus. Then, he gathered his spirits and said, but this is still good. The system announcement popped up, black light virus has evolved, life recovery speed increased by 300%. Then a new announcement. Reminded, activated passive ability of the Black Light Virus, obtained A-grade biological monster cell rebirth skill. The system explained in detail, cell rebirth, A-grade passive, consumes a certain amount of stamina or excess energy to restore as quickly as possible. Can regenerate lost limbs. This passive skill can be turned on or off. The skill has a huge advantage. Chenbai clenched his fists and excitedly exclaimed. This is great. The acquisition rate for passive skills is so low, and I got an A-grade one. But soon, his expression changed as he became even more eager for the next reward. Let's see what good stuff the nightmare level boss will drop. In front of Chenbai, 3 items appeared. They radiated golden light, wrapped in a layer of shimmering spiritual energy. The system popped up a new announcement. Showing the 3 items Chenbai obtained: Biochemical Demon Unique A-grade Job Change Permission, an Evil Profession that absorbs other life forms to enhance itself. It can stimulate its own cells to increase strength and recovery. Ability. Note, overabsorption may cause gene collapse or mutation. Job change requirements, evolutionist level. Physique greater than 15. Chenbai crouched slightly and picked up one of the items. Chenbai opened the cap of the tube with his thumb and continued, this one's not bad either. He then directly put it into his mouth, gulping it down in one go, while the system notified, permanently enhanced strength, constitution +2, agility +6, constitution +3. He reached out and picked up a round bundle of cloth. It turned out to be a piece of clothing, and the fabric was quite thin. Chenbai pulled open the sleeves and looked at it, puzzled. This is strange. Is it a special item or equipment? The system panel provided a detailed explanation. Skin of the faceless, special defense degrade, special leather product, containing various genes. Excellent defensive ability, can reduce skin sagging problems. Agility +10, constitution. Defense +10, adjusts body shape. Long-term work can improve body shape, with better effects on female skin. After wearing, you can freely change the color and shape of any part of the body. After looking for a while, Chenbai thought for a moment and muttered to himself, this skin change description is a bit vague. Is it body adjustment or equipment? Letting the virus tentacles hold the leather, Chenbai quickly searched through his equipment warehouse, then remembered something. Oh right, I also found some strange little things before. He browsed through the collected equipment page and nodded, saying, these are all ordinary leather items, they can also be worn inside armor. His attention focused on a brown book, and he continued, and this skill book, it's not bad. The system displayed its detailed information. Active cell activation degrade, temporarily enhances cell activity and recovery ability. Cooldown time 10 hours. Note, this skill book is ineffective for those who have already mastered the skill. After reading it, he smiled faintly. Ineffective? That's fine. This life-saving skill book can be exchanged for good things in the chat group. Holding the broken pieces of the monster's body, now shriveled into a small mass, he decided it was time to leave. As long as I hand over this boss's body parts to Lado, the task will be complete. Thinking of Lado, Chenbai confidently squinted his eyes. He definitely won't expect me to complete the task so quickly. He suddenly paused, feeling something was off, and pondered, Goblin Trading God? The system panel popped up with a prompt, do you want to leave the instance? Below are 2 options, yes or no. Chenbai hurriedly raised his hand and shouted, no, wait. Chenbai calmed down and re-evaluated Lado. Lado isn't a wandering merchant moving around in the game. There's definitely a reason he came here. He recalled what Lado had said, I'm an unexpected gain. He remembered how Lado had happily said to him when leaving, today's unexpected gain is really pleasant, I hope you can complete the trial. Chenbai thought, so his purpose is likely this special instance. He crossed his arms and walked towards the door, immersed in his reasoning, wondering, but what I've obtained is indeed valuable. There's no need for some god's projection to appear. Could his purpose have nothing to do with this instance? Or did I miss something? Looking at the nearby incinerator, Chinbite stopped thinking and stood still for a long time. He decided to open the incinerator door and crawl inside to investigate, muttering to himself, if there's another place I haven't explored in this instance, it must be this incinerator. Without hesitation, he crawled in, pressing his hands against the chimney-covered walls, carefully observing the cremation iron bed, the flame spout, and the smoke-stained walls, finding nothing special. Looking up at the dark chimney opening, Chinbite wondered aloud, could it be inside this flue? Looks like I'll have to climb up and take a look. I might miss something if I don't investigate properly. After saying that, he didn't hesitate, took a running leap, and charged toward the chimney. The next moment, he was running along the chimney wall. The chimney was large enough to accommodate his entire body. He looked around, his expression serious. This flue is really long, much taller than the room itself. Chinbite suddenly saw something and was startled. The flue in front of him was blocked, and he exclaimed in surprise, reached the top? A dead end? He then tiredly leaned against the barrier, pushing it with his elbow to see what would happen. Chinbite still couldn't believe it. Could it really be nothing? Impossible. Startled, a golden, shining face popped out from the barrier, scaring Chinbite with a wow. Instinctively, he swung his fist towards it but was surprised to find it had no effect. Chinbai's eyes were filled with confusion. The system interface displayed information about it, calling this thing a face but with no clear name. The main cause of the cremation furnace phenomenon is unclear. It looks like a face, seemingly possessing some function. The golden light from the mask illuminates the dark pipes. He quickly grabbed the mask, struggling to remove it, while speculating, is this an item? The will of all things can't explain it, and with the question mark, it's likely a 3S level item fragment, or something related to a deity. Chinbite examined the mask carefully, a satisfied expression on his face. Looking at it, he said, this is indeed a good item. It looks like Lei Duo's gold must be this, I need to find a way to keep it. At that moment, outside Jiangcheng University, in the underground cremation furnace, it was already dark. Chinbite crawled out of the cremation furnace. The foreign girl had been waiting too long and was resting while sitting. Hearing the noise, she turned and shouted, "Bai, you must be Chinbite." She immediately jumped up excitedly, shouting happily, "You're amazing, Bai. I've watched your videos, I love you, Bai." Chinbite responded with a silly question, "Do you have any coins?" The girl was stunned for a moment before replying, "The zombies were killed by someone else, I also helped." Now, he was focused on thinking about the pricing issue. I wonder how many coins I have priced now. One coin should attract a lot of viewers, right? Chinbite immediately checked the system, seeing the balance, 869 gold coins, 93 silver coins, 15 copper coins, 912 gold coins, 75 silver coins, 32 copper coins, 912 gold coins, 75 silver coins, 32 copper coins. After checking the account balance, Chinbite sighed dejectedly, still not enough. I need 1,000 gold coins to unlock the warehouse. He closed the system and half-closed his eyes, thinking, the warehouse is protected by the will of all things, cutting off all detection. This is the safest way to store items without being discovered. Looks like I'll have to wait longer to complete the task. After a while, Chinbite and the foreign girl arrived at the annex building behind the main building of the medical college. The foreign girl pointed ahead and asked, "Bai, are we going to the Dongshan wilderness you mentioned?" He walked while putting his hands in his pockets, coldly replying, "No, it's too dangerous at night. Let's find a place to stay overnight." Hearing this, the foreign girl excitedly expressed her willingness to follow him. There are a few high-end hotels near the school with complete facilities. It's not a holiday now, so there won't be too many people. And they're all high buildings, so it should be very safe. Chenbai glanced at her and said in a deep voice, "All right, lead the way." After a while, the foreign girl led Chenbai to a themed hotel near Jiangcheng University. In the room rented by the two of them, there was lively chatter. The foreign girl changed into a nurse outfit, wearing fishnet stockings, kneeling on the ground, deliberately bending over to display her good figure. However, the male protagonist frowned and said dissatisfiedly, "I don't like this style." The girl awkwardly replied, "Sorry, I thought you chose this hotel for this." Chenbai leaned back in the chair, spreading his arms, and said in a bad boy tone, "I did want to see it, but I don't like you dressed like this." The girl lowered her head and turned around, shyly saying, "Then I'll go change." 15 minutes later, she changed into a police uniform, brought handcuffs, and deliberately showcased her perfect curves in front of Chenbai. However, he was still unsatisfied, saying in annoyance, "Change." For the third time, she changed into a female teacher outfit, holding a riding crop, kneeling on the ground and striking a pose. Chenbai, however, found her lacking in aura, saying coldly, "Change." This time, she changed into a cute female student look and struck a youthful love pose. However, Chenbai was still not satisfied, saying, "Boring, you're already a student, isn't there anything more interesting to choose from here?" So this time, a foreign little fox girl was lying on the floor striking a pose, afraid that Chenbai would be disgusted, stammering and asking, Is this okay?" He lay on the bed, propped up on his hand, smiling, and stayed silent for a while. Then he turned around and nodded in agreement, "All right, tonight you'll be a good pet, come here." A moment later, at the Love Hotel near Jiangcheng University. After they were done, both were exhausted. The foreign girl slept soundly, while Chenbai sat up and shouted, "Summon system, activate the warehouse function." The system interface appeared, "Warehouse activated, consuming 1,000 gold coins. You may choose your successor. It will not be detected by any abilities or skills. This is an absolutely private space, protected by the will of the universe. Please use it wisely." Then the system prompt continued, "Hint, the mask has been stored in the warehouse." Chenbai quickly put on his coat and prepared to leave. He said, "All right, it's time to move on to the next phase of the mission." Slap, he flicked a gold coin. The gold coin flew straight into the center of the summoning ritual, which shone with a magical array imprint, completing the transaction with the goblin deity. Chenbai's face was full of confidence as he awaited Lido's appearance. Near Jiangcheng University's Love Hotel, night fell, and the city lights began to shine. He stood in front of the glowing mark, deep in thought. There was a saying in the world, when making a deal with Lido, he would adjust the reward based on the other's mood or identity. Of course, he had been quite valuable in Lido's eyes before. He warily looked around. Chenbai took a squirming piece of meat out of his pocket. Lido appeared, full of excitement, laughing as he walked. "Little guy, didn't expect you to summon me so quickly. Has the mission been completed, proving your strength?" Chenbai casually tossed the piece of meat to Lido, then replied, "That's right, this is the proof. It's part of the dungeon creature required for the mission." The monster Chenbai had just defeated now shrunk into a lump, rolling around at Lido's feet. The piece of meat had shriveled up like a giant raisin, the whole creature trembling weakly. Lido stared at it for a moment, then speculated, "Oh, it looks like this thing has been dead for a while." Lido heavily tapped the ground with his cane, hands on hips, reproaching, "You finished the mission last night, right? Why didn't you summon me right away?" Chenbai was speechless, because he had been busy with pushing a cart last night. Seeing him silent, Lido's gaze darkened, and he asked seriously, "You really want that scroll, right?" At this moment, Chenbai quietly said, "Because I don't understand." After saying that, he put on a confused expression, pointed at the dungeon, and questioned, "I respect you so much, why hide the difficulty of the dungeon?" This psychological tactic even stunned Leto for a moment. At this point, Leto showed a hint of displeasure, pretending to complain. Only after entering the dungeon did I find out it was a nightmare-level dungeon. If I didn't have some tricks up my sleeve, I'd have probably died in there. Leto circled Shinbai with his cane, clicking as he walked, and then said, I see. Kid, I understand your dissatisfaction, but I can give you an explanation. Shinbai looked at him with slight displeasure, and at that moment, Leto smiled slightly, his voice low as he explained, actually, this is part of the test. A treasure like that, I can't give it to someone who can't handle unexpected situations. Do you understand? Shinbai immediately understood the old man's thoughts. Then, he sighed and said, all right, I understand. So, what are the rewards and the next task? At this moment, Leto stood opposite Shinbai, holding his cane with both hands, bowing his head and speaking. Seriously, okay, hiding information was my mistake, and you have already proven your strength. So. Leto raised his hand, preparing to snap his fingers, and looked at him with wide eyes, saying, the reward for this task can be chosen by you. He smiled brightly and emphasized, and the next task will be the final ring task. What do you think? Shinbai confirmed the task, slightly bowed, spread his hands in a European gesture, and respectfully replied, I am very grateful for Mr. Leto's explanation and generosity. Snap. Leto suddenly snapped his fingers and invited, come on, the limit is for items below B rank. Feel free to choose. With a flick of his finger, many item cards and equipment cards began to spin around Shinbai and Leto, radiating intense light that made Shinbai feel dazzled. Shinbai chose a B rank scroll pattern card and said, I want this one. With Leto's rich experience, he didn't even need to look, quickly guessing, oh? Is it the return scroll blueprint? Leto once again revealed a mysterious smile, then praised, you're good at choosing items, and you have clear goals. So, the next step is the final stage of the task. The system panel required for the task appeared in front of Shinbai. He couldn't see what was displayed on it, and his expression changed drastically. He stood frozen for a moment, staring at the system panel with wide eyes. It read, the God Leto wishes to give you a 3S level task, final investment. Upon completion, you will receive 2 3S level profession scrolls. Do you accept? Upon seeing the reward of 2 3S level cards, Shinbai could hardly believe his eyes. Shinbai was shocked and stammered, 2 3S level cards? This is too difficult. Lord Leto. Shinbai lowered his head, beads of sweat forming on his forehead, and said, you should know that even gods don't naturally possess 3S level professions. Facing Shinbai's hesitation, Leto smiled and showed understanding. He said, of course I know, my first profession was only A rank. But Leto's hat slightly obscured his bright blue eyes as he gazed into the distance, saying meaningfully, this is my most precious treasure, so of course, it will come with the best rewards. If it weren't like this, I wouldn't bear to part with it. Shinbai spread his hands in resignation and agreed, all right, it seems I have no choice but to accept. In the Dongshan Villa area, a huge red-haired rat held a male corpse in its mouth and stood in front of the house, continuously making sharp screeching sounds, squeak, squeak, squeak. This creature is a level 5 mutated giant rat with strength 18, agility 20, constitution 19, and spirit 3. Due to the huge level difference, its other abilities couldn't be seen. Shuangni and Song Ziqiang hid behind a broken wall for cover. Shuangni peeked out to observe the giant rat, saying, compared to before, the frequency of their appearance is increasing. Even if 2 teams encounter it, they will be wiped out. Song Ziqiang asked anxiously. Level 5? Its stats are 3 to 4 times higher than ours? Shuangni answered while staying alert, we can't handle it. Song Ziqiang looked at her heavily injured team members. They had no ability to fight against this giant rat. She anxiously said, what do we do now? We can't deal with it. We need to get away from it, but someone must stay behind to monitor its movements. Suddenly, Shwani's gaze caught something, her eyes flashing. The huge rat seemed to have gone mad, charging violently and directly crashing into the wall where the two women were hiding. Shwani quickly grabbed Song Ziqiang, and both of them fell to the ground. Song Ziqiang shouted desperately, "Everyone, scatter!" The giant rat was completely out of control, stumbling and smashing into everything around it, causing severe destruction with debris and dust flying everywhere. Shwani hurriedly helped Song Ziqiang to her feet and said urgently, "Sister Song, we must leave right now."